I'm Be Natural.
I'm better.
I'm Stir. Wait, no.
I'm
Start
Mustard.
over.
I'm Mustard.
We don't have to start over. He'll just edit it.
I'm Be Natural.
I'm better.
I'm Mustard.
I'm Stir.
So yeah, this is part 2 of our discussion of the Andalite Chronicles. So in this episode I'm gonna review chapters 25 to 36, and then we're gonna talk about that, and then we're gonna review summarize the rest of the book quick, and then talk about that, and that's that.
That's our itinerary. Or our schedule.
Do you have to introduce the podcast? I don't know if we did that yet.
Nah, if you want to know what this podcast is about, go back to part 1.
This is an Animorphs Book Club podcast.
Yeah,
We read
seriously.
Animorphs.
If you haven't.
Why are you clicking on part 2 and not part 1?
Listen to part 1.
Maybe this
Go
is the
back
new.
and listen to part 1.
Maybe this is the newest episode, and they're like, oh, see the newest episode, see what they're up to.
Okay,
Go back
so
and
if
listen
you
to part
don't know,
one.
if you don't know what the podcast
They
is,
They
go
do
to
know.
part
Shut
1.
up. Let's just go.
So, I'm going to summarize the third quarter of this book.
The third quarter of the 3-part book.
Yeah, the third quarter of the 3-part book, correct. So, chapter 25. Elfangor is in a ship above the Taxon planet with Alron and 2 humans and also Subvis of 7, who is currently controlling a Hork-Bajir. And then Alron tells Elfangor to push the Subvis of 7 out of the ship, and he does it. So then Alron keeps talking about how Elfangor has to go back and destroy those defenseless Yeerks that he refused to kill earlier. But Elfangor is like, no, we have to get the Time Matrix. That's way more important. And then they argue about it. And then during this argument, it's revealed that Alron used a quantum virus on the Hork-Bajir planet like years ago, and that's why he's disgraced. And then Chapman just punches Alron, and then Elfangor tranquilizes Alron. So then Elfangor lands the ship and gets the Time Matrix, and that takes a while. And when he gets back to the ship, Chapman and Lauren attack him, and it turns out some Yeerks were able to turn them into controllers while he was gone. Also, the Hork-Bajir that they pushed out of the ship wasn't actually Subvis of 7, because now Subvis of 7 is inside Alron's body, which he was able to get because Alron had passed out. And then Subvis of 7 just mocks Elfangor about how it's totally his fault. And then he tells the bug fighters are coming. So then Elfangor stuns him and goes on the ship and does a video call with the people driving the bug fighters, pretending to be the Visitor. And it works for a little bit, but then they figure out what's going on after a while. So then Elfangor and the 2 humans escape to zero space. They have the Time Matrix now. The Yeerk inside the humans' heads didn't have enough Kendra on it to stay alive after being in Z space for a couple of days, so that's not an issue anymore. They leave zero space, and Elfangor does a distress call or something, and he gets a response from an Andalite ship that's being attacked. So they find an Andalite dome ship. Then they fight some weird living asteroids or something. And then Subvis of 7 shows up in a giant ship shaped like an axe. It's called a blade ship. So then he calls Elfangor on Skype for a second, and he's like, hey, I'm Viso 32 now because I have a sexy Andalite body. And then Chapman shoots Elfangor for no reason, I think. And then Lauren kicks him in the nuts, and then she kicks him in the face. And then the blade ship starts boarding Elfangor's ship. It's the Jahar, I think, is Elfangor's ship right now. And then Viso gets on the ship, and he fights Elfangor. And when they're fighting, the ship hits an asteroid, and the ship starts spinning out of control and losing oxygen and falling into a black hole. So then Elfangor and Viso are like, hey, we need to work together to get the Time Matrix, which fell out of the ship a while ago, and they have to use that to save themselves. So once they get the Time Matrix, they both touch the Time Matrix, and it's like the universe opens up. Like, they can see like things from all angles, and they can see like where things have been in the past, and it's wild. So he's touching the Time Matrix and focusing on where he wants to go. So he imagines his homeworld, but also the Viso's doing that too. And then Lauren also touches the Time Matrix, and she starts imagining Earth. And then Elfangor passes out. And right before he passed out, he felt like he was being washed, and he could hear something laughing, and that was kind of weird. And then Elfangor wakes up on his home planet where he grew up, and he talks to a tree or something that he used to talk to a lot as a kid. But then he as he walks around, he's like, hey, this isn't my home planet because there's freaking Earth things here, and also your home planet stuff. That's weird. And that's where this quarter of the book ends.
Nice. Good job. That's a
Yay.
very good summary. Alright, so this part was cool, I guess. It wasn't as cool. The space part was where they were like trying to get the Time Matrix and everything, and like I didn't remember that part at all from like when I first read this. I didn't remember the part where they were running out of air and stuff. I guess it's not as great as the stuff on the Texan homeworld, but
Did you remember the stuff about the meteors, like eating?
I remembered something about living meteors, but they're a lot cooler than I remembered.
I forgot about that
What
part.
they are? I didn't
Really
care about that at all.
They're like freaking life forms that exist in the vacuum of space, and they move by by basically like in the way that a ship moves. because it says that they have like tails, like they have like tails that look like meteor tails, so they don't have like because you couldn't move in space with like limbs obviously, so they must have some kind of like propulsion, which is
Like
pretty cool.
Sperm cells?
No, like some kind of fuel, like a
Yeah,
spaceship.
sperm cells need like
They have a
Sperm
swing
cells
tail.
could not move in
Well, you
space.
said they use a tail.
Well, yeah, they have like a tail, which is that tail is like a beam produced by their. It's like when a
like
jet
the tail
has
of
a fuel, has a
not,
tail.
not the tail of a creature.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought those were cool.
They were cool, but I thought it was confusing when they went to the black hole.
Well, they didn't mean to go there.
Yeah, it was a little confusing. I was like, wait, there's a black
I
hole.
was like, yeah, where does
Yeah.
that
What?
come from?
They
Suddenly
mean the
there's a black
inside of the
hole.
asteroid?
I was like reviewing my notes and I was like, wait, they got in a black hole at one part? What?
Yeah, I
was
feel
just
like
reading
Applegate might have just forgot to introduce that, but I was like, well,
think
there's a
she
black hole
did.
now. It's higher stakes, whatever.
Oh well.
I was reading and he said, like, oh yes, and we were drifting towards a black hole. Like, oh, okay, I guess the black hole's part of this now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad that I wasn't the only one who was like
Me
confused
too.
by the black
I
hole.
thought I just like I guess I must have skipped that part or
She's-
something.
Like they were already running out of oxygen, but she just really wanted higher stakes. It's like, no oxygen.
They're eating their ship is ripped in half. They need to get the time matrix so that like the Yeerks don't destroy all the Andalite races forever. And also they're being eaten by a living asteroid right now, but we also need a black hole in there.
Yeah.
And also they were running out of air.
Yeah. I do like the idea of like creatures that are just like made out of inorganic material and they just suck up other inorganic material like spaceships to grow. That's pretty rad.
Well, at first I thought that was the
element.
Elamists just moving crap around.
Huh.
But,
I thought it was something that UX made at first.
oh yeah, it's like Katamari.
I thought they were just like mysterious things that no one knows about. It's like, oh, the asteroids.
That's what they turned out to be.
Yeah.
I guess.
And
They just got eaten by one and then whoop, nothing happened.
Hang on,
to those
they
guys
actually got
again.
eaten by it?
Yeah. They were
So
actually
how
very
did it get
hungry.
back out of the asteroid?
I don't remember.
With Z-Space? Wait, hang on.
No, I thought it was just like, no, they turned off the power. So
The
it
power
wasn't
was
hungry.
off. That's
Didn't
why they couldn't breathe.
The Time Matrix.
They were because they
No.
would have not been able to go outside.
Why not?
Because they can't go through an asteroid. They were inside it.
What? If you're inside it, isn't it hollow?
The ship? Yeah, the ship's
The
hollow.
time matrix wasn't.
No,
no,
Isn't the
there's
asteroid
not, like,
hollow?
No, the asteroid is
The asteroid's
pressing in
squeezy.
on the
It's a
ship.
squeezy
It's eating it.
asteroid.
All of it? I assumed it was like Pac-Man. It was eating like part of it. It didn't like 360 it. I assumed it like was biting like
Oh.
one end of it.
I'm looking
assumed
for
they
it now.
Okay.
Trying to bash the asteroid, and then the asteroid.
The asteroid had us. I was slammed violently by acceleration as the asteroid moved away from the battlefield, holding the Jahar in its death grip. The ship was dead. Air, we needed air. The emergency environmental power unit should have come on, but the ship's power was dead, drained away by the energy-eating asteroid.
Energy-eating asteroid.
Yeah, the asteroids get their energy from ship's fuel.
Huh.
And then he had
Oh, and
to-
also the asteroids are like attracted to like laser beams. Like,
yes,
when-
it was attracted to
Yeah,
energy.
because it's energy.
Oh, okay. Like when they kept shooting at it, like, no, don't shoot at it. It's
And when
gonna
they
eat
ran
us.
away, when they tried to run away, it's attracted to it because that was making it using energy.
Huh. And yeah, they were able to get the time matrix because something about like the gravity of the ship kept the time matrix next to it. Or
Oh yeah,
something.
Which
Like
I
that.
That was-
I don't
that
wanna
was
try to buy
BS.
that. Yeah, I think the
I
black
don't-
hole's
I don't-
quite a
that
bit
was
stronger than a
ridiculous.
ship.
Yeah.
Well, I assume it has something to do with the power of the time matrix, but I kind of skipped over that because it seemed weird.
Maybe part of
Okay,
the
so I
time
think
matrix,
the
I don't
asteroid
know.
just like swung by and grabbed and took their energy out and then left.
Oh,
And
like it didn't need the metal parts of the ship, the solid parts. Just
Yeah,
wanted the energy.
it didn't
Sauntered
feel like
off.
it didn't feel like eating. It didn't feel like eating the metal sharp
That
parts. I
seems
guess.
very wasted to me. Just to replace the cool asteroid thing with a black hole.
I thought I remember like some Elfangor describing like the asteroid like rock like creeping over the ship's like the Jahar, but I guess I misremembered that because I can't say that anymore.
Didn't you say that it was creeping over it? Like, didn't you just read that?
I didn't read. No, I didn't read that out loud.
It was in his death clutch, but it wasn't like creeping. I assume that just meant it was biting onto half of it.
Okay, well the way Calpagate talks about asteroids misrepresents them as well, which is something I would have brought up then. Because
Asteroids
in real life,
aren't alive?
asteroids are not small. Shut up. In real life, astronauts are not small enough. Like, an asteroid is way, way bigger than a freaking ship.
Well, these ones aren't. These ones are living creatures that just look like asteroids.
Okay.
Wait, hang on. Are they only like how big are they?
I don't know. I mean, I imagine they were
so
like
I just okay. So maybe
Maybe
they're
the
not.
size
But
of this
nobody
room.
told me. I thought it was just gonna be like this. I thought it was just gonna be like almost as big as a planet, like as big as the moon or
Is
something.
that
No.
how big asteroids are? What?
some of them. No, those
I assume these asteroids were like the
Wait,
size of like
we
a
should look this up.
house.
I'm just trying based
they're
on
not
like,
actual
movies I
asteroids. They're
see.
living creatures that look like asteroids.
Well, yeah, but someone who knows what asteroids look like.
Asteroids can be any size. I mean, asteroids can be
Did somebody-
small. A small
okay.
piece of rock is also an asteroid.
So this is an asteroid right here.
Well, if it was in space, it would be.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, Be Natural's right because it says asteroids range in size from about 329 miles to less than 33 feet.
I'm glad that when I said this is an asteroid right here, I didn't have a rock. You just like went with
I
it.
thought you were gesturing to your butt.
I was just showing to the rock that's behind me. Don't you see it?
If I launch Mustard out of a cannon into space and he dies and then he curls up into a ball, he's an asteroid.
Is that true?
At 33 feet, that's like the size of a room.
I think that's just like space junk.
Oh wait, you said it had to be at least 33 feet?
Well, less than 30 feet.
Yeah, he's less than 33 feet.
Okay.
Wait, I thought. Oh, listen.
Not all of me, if you know what I mean.
Alright.
Yeah.
Is that an asteroid? Let's search out its penis and see. Oh man, this one qualifies as a dwarf planet.
Do you want to go back and talk about Elfangor and Lauren arguing and then there's a fight or something?
Yeah, we should do this
Isn't that all
more
before
in
that?
order.
Yeah,
Right.
I think the Andalite stuff's a lot more important than the asteroid stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the asteroid stuff is just the stuff that annoyed me.
Yeah, why are we start talking about the asteroids?
Because they're cool.
No, they're not.
They're cooler than I remembered. They weren't as cool as the rest of the book, but
Okay,
they're...
everyone raise your hand if you thought the asteroids were cool. Okay, now don't say who's raising the hand. Okay, moving on.
Okay, so Elfangor. So Prince A is being a little bitch about the whole Yerk thing, and he's like, you really gotta kill those. Before we find the time matrix, we just gotta do a quick little errand and run over to those Yerks I saw earlier and just like kill them from way up high.
Elfangor's like, no, time matrix way more important, stupid.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you gonna not listen to me again? You already failed to kill them once. Like,
Yeah, he says the most important thing in war is to destroy your enemies. Nothing is more important than destroying your enemies. And I think he does it specifically because he wants Elfangor, and then he specifically wants Elfangor to be the one to pull the trigger on
I
the
know, why
Shredder.
didn't he just do it? He could have just did it when they were out in
Because I
space.
think he doesn't really want to kill the Yerks as much as he wants Elfangor to like.
doesn't he say something about
learn
that?
about.
He doesn't want
orders.
Elfangor to be. He doesn't Elfangor to want to be. Well, he doesn't want Elfangor to be like high and mighty.
Which says,
all
are you one of
above
the?
him.
Are you one of those who are happy enough when someone like me does the dirty work for you?
Yes. Oh, yes, that was great because I was like, yeah, because he thinks he sees it as the quantum virus fiasco. He sees that whole thing as like he had to do it. Somebody had to do it, and he did it, and
Yeah.
then he did the dirty work, and then he got disgraced, and so now he doesn't want other. He basically sees the other Andalites as cowards, and so he's like, yeah,
Because they're probably, I feel like a lot of Andalites would be like, yeah, that was the right thing, but I can't do it. That's disgraceful, you know. But they like
No. I think a lot of Andalites. No, I think Andalites are saying to themselves, "No, the quantum virus thing is wrong. No, you don't shoot all those Yerks, from above."
Well, I feel like that's how Alon sees it, though. Is that a lot of people want it to be
Correct.
done.
No, it's that a lot of people want a clean war, but Lauren.
Well, no, he says, are you one of those who are happy enough when someone like me does the dirty work for you? Implying that, yeah, it has to be done, but he doesn't want to do it.
I think it's more like the Andalites don't like to think about that stuff being done, and but the way Prince A sees it, someone has to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is in line with his quantum virus thing.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. I think if Prince A was alone, I don't think he would have like bothered, but he really wants Elfangor to stop being a little whiny, stop being a little pussy about this.
I think these are interesting characters, because, you know, like, this is Elfangor's, like, leader in this situation, basically, and he's, like, not perfect, you know, but, like, in the end, it seems like Vita 3, whatever he is at this point, later says something about, like, oh yeah, Elfangor, if you would have killed those Yerks, I wouldn't have been alive still, so this is your fault.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because Chapman, who's being controlled by Subvisor 7, although nobody knows that right now, punches
Yeah.
Elfangor in the back of his head, and then he punches Prince A in the back of his head, and then Elfangor knocks him out.
Okay.
So that he'll stop
you can control
bothering.
that part?
So that he'll stop bothering him about the Yerks, so we can just go get the damn time matrix and get out of there. And he's like, and Elfangor's like, well, okay, that sucks, but I guess that we have to do that. Get the time matrix. So then, yeah, and then him being knocked out is what allows Sub-Visitor 7 to get into Lauren, and then later he gloats about how, like, oh, if you just gone and done that stupid thing, I don't think I would have been able to just let you do that, so I would have had to, like, try and fight you, and then you would have realized that I was a controller.
You probably would have won the fight, too.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna, it's two androids,
Yeah,
are not
somebody
gonna...
he should have massacred those freaking Yerks, because then he wouldn't have created freaking Visitor 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that
Very
there's-
ironic.
There's cool characters in this story because he's his leader, but this Elon, he doesn't seem like a great guy, but he also seems to be doing what he seems to want what the book is considering the right thing. Or
I don't think the book is considering murdering.
Not the right thing, but it's preventing a lot of bad stuff from happening.
He has the best ideas.
Well, no.
I don't think the book is
he's
thinking
the wisest. Like he knows what needs to be done.
No, I think he's just his worldview is very crooked.
This book's complicated.
Lauren's such a complicated character, and I love him.
Anyway.
I'm not
no,
sure
he
about
doesn't.
that.
That's like saying
that
is like saying
Elfangor's holding to his morals.
I think that's like saying like when somebody wants to get on a train to go visit their parents, but then like they miss the train and they're like, oh man, I missed the train, but then the train crashes and everyone dies. It's like,
well, I'm not saying that Lauren like knew that not killing those Yerks would end up making Visitor 3, but like it was his idea to kill him in the first place.
I think it was just like
it was more chance.
It was just the way things worked out.
He had no control.
And it was just a way to have Elfangor feel even worse about himself.
Yeah.
As if he couldn't feel, as if Elfangor needed to feel worse.
But it's like he needed to listen to Lauren more, which is kind of the point.
Well,
I don't think that was it. I think the point was just that there was no right thing to do in this situation.
It's complicated. This book's complicated.
It's that he's in a terrible situation.
Sure, it's complicated.
I mean, they've already like abandoned their friend on the Taxon homeworld, and they're going to tell everyone that he's going to die. So there's just no good choices here at this point.
I guess the point of the book isn't to massacre Yerks or the like.
Yeah,
I mean, like, a lot of stuff they do is like morally vague, like using the time matrix to save themselves. Like Elfangor's like, this isn't really a good idea. Like a lot of stuff they do like isn't really great, and this whole book's basically just about like, yeah, this is all the stuff I did. Some of it might have been good, a lot of it was probably bad, but this is how I died and created Visitor 3. Or that's not how I died, but this is how I created Visitor 3 basically. Yeah.
And no one knows about it because they were destroy Elfangor's
I mean,
honor.
okay, so like in this chapter, which
Which chapter?
In chapter 28. So after this whole thing,
Before the asteroids.
Before the asteroids, but after they like leave Visitor 3 on the planet, they leave Visitor 3, who's in Prince A's body, on the Taxon homeworld.
Oh, while he's getting the time matrix.
He's getting a time
after he gets the time matrix, he dumps Alarin off on the planet and then
leaves
and pretends to be Alarin.
Chapman says, what do they call
Visitor 3, not.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Chapman says, what do they call that? Oh yeah, genocide. You up for a little genocide, Elfangor? And
hang on, so that was Yerk Chapman?
No, that was regular Chapman.
That was regular Chapman?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell the difference.
So I don't think K.A. Applegate is like, yeah, I'm pro Yerk massacre, I'm pro genocide, guys. Like that was supposed to be like a correct comment.
There's a lot of like teasing Elfangor in this book.
Yeah, there
just
is.
like saying stuff to make him mad. Like
Chapman's just there to tease Elfangor.
Like insulting his morals and
Chapman's
choices.
just a slimy punk in this book.
Yeah, he is.
I don't understand why Chapman is in this book.
Yeah, it could have been anyone. It didn't need to be Chapman.
Yeah.
Does she just really want people to hate Chapman? Because she's like, I don't feel like writing Chapman as an interesting character after book 2, you know? So I'll think my readers hate him by making him a little punk in
No,
this
she
book.
just wants everything to be cool and connected. Otherwise, there's no point in the whole Tobias thing either. She's just like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool?
Oh, I get to that later.
Yeah.
That was cool, though.
But I like that because it's really pointless, though.
No, I liked it because it connected to the first book.
Yeah, I mean,
you could tell she planned this from
the.
You could tell she planned this from the beginning.
I don't know about
that.
No,
you can't.
No, I gave a little reason.
No, I think she just wanted. I don't think she had.
I think it just
Tobias
happened.
had a special connection.
We'll talk about that later.
In book 1, it was like, yes, Axe had a special Tobias had a special connection to Elfangor, and he stuck with him in his dying words.
No, I know.
Yes.
That
But
doesn't necessarily
mean
mean
that
anything.
she
Yeah.
had this ending in plan.
I think she did.
That could mean anything.
Maybe not. I
Okay,
mean,
well, I can't argue against that because
Well,
she-
I really don't know what she was thinking.
She can barely figure out how many fingers Andalites have until like book 7. You think like she has all this planned ahead?
I mean,
She just makes stuff as vague as possible and then figures it out later, and it's good usually.
and it's good, yeah.
So
I don't have any complaints about that. I don't think she plans far ahead as it seems sometimes.
well, yeah, but she knew she wanted Tobias to be.
Anyway, let's talk about that. We can talk about that later. We gotta
Okay.
talk about freaking asteroids eating asteroids or whatever.
What about the Andalites?
What Andalites?
The Andalite stuff.
What Andalite stuff?
The Andalites fight.
What?
okay,
You
let's
have to be specific.
chapter 26, page 1.
That's where I'm at now, actually.
There's I like how Elfangor like talks about. So this is when Lauren is free, or Prince A is, he's his regular self, being a little bitch, and Elfangor is also there, and also so is Chapman, who is actually Subvisor 7, but nobody knows that right now. And Lauren's there, and she's also a controller, but also nobody knows that right now.
So this is after they launched who they thought was Subvisor 7 off the ship.
Yes, who was just actually like Subvisor 7's like, one of his underlings who he just made commit suicide for him. Rip. So I like the foreshadow, the way that the events leading up to it are written, with like Elfangor is saying, "Oh, I should have known then. I should have known, but I just didn't." Where Lauren drops like a stone, and then I saw triumph on Chapman's face. Triumph. I should have known then. I should have realized.
I don't think I like when the narrator does that. Because then I'm just like...
Alphagate does that a lot, because then it makes me expect it when I didn't need
Yeah,
to
like it'll be like at the beginning of the book sometimes too, where it's like, oh yeah, I did this, and it's like, well, now I'm just like gonna be suspicious until it reveals what he's actually talking about there.
I don't know.
I prefer when it's
I'm
like a
thinking-
complete surprise. I think.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, I mean,
Surprising, but
Caplagate
surprising
probably
makes
doesn't
sense.
want us to think that she's pulling all this out of her butt, so...
I like this part too. It was lucky Laura never told them while they held her captive about the time matrix. Lucky that Chapman never told them. Lucky. And lucky that I had been able to hold off the Hork-Bajir. And lucky that we had been able to get away from the spaceport without being pursued. More luck. Too much luck. I really was a fool. I felt a cold shiver crawl up my spine. Thought that was great.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was pretty good. I like that.
And for the rest of my life, I would remember that moment. The moment when I looked for the first time upon the abomination. So, Subvisor 7 is now in his Andalite body, and he's, like, taunting Elfangor some more.
Was there anything interesting to say about Elfangor getting the time matrix and leaving the people that were on the ship?
They team up and it's kind of cute.
Hmm?
What?
When they did the time matrix.
No. What? When he's... Wait.
That's later.
No, that's
Oh,
way
that's
later.
later? How is that
We're talking about when he's
later?
getting the time matrix from the planet.
Where's-
When Visor turns into the Andalite.
I thought that was okay.
That's way later.
Why are there so many getting the orb and going into the ship? They get the orb and go in the ship like 3 times in this book.
It's true.
Yeah.
Wait, 4 times, I think.
Yeah,
It's fine.
So, I just love, this part where, Subvisor 7 taunts Elfangor, and he says, like, my people are gonna be here soon, so haha, you're not gonna be able to defeat me. And then Elfangor says, you'll be a cinder by the time they get here. And then Subvisor 7 says, no, you won't kill a helpless foe. I have no weapon. I am your prisoner. Haha, I surrender to you, Elfangor. I surrender. And then he laughs.
Yeah, it's great. Poor guy.
Visor is such a better villain in this book than like all the Animorphs books. I feel like.
Maybe he's just suffering from like dementia after
I
a few.
mean, yeah, this is like 20 years later.
Yeah,
this was like young Visor.
He's still just a Viz. He's still high up because he's like got the Andalite body, but that's about it. That's the only reason he elevated in the first place. So
It's like he just like got too high up and now he doesn't have to work hard anymore.
yeah.
Well, okay, my thought is that like, to me, once you got the Andalite body, he kind of seemed like more of a maniac than before. So I'm thinking just the amount of hatred within one body, since this Yurk just really, really doesn't want to be in the Andalite, and the Andalite really,
What?
really, really
He
doesn't
really
want
wants
Yurk
to
in
be
it.
with it. He really wants to be in the Andalite.
But he doesn't want to be the Andalite.
Well, he
What?
wants an Andalite body like the entire book. He's
Yeah,
like,
but
what
he
is-
still sees himself as an abomination. Everyone does.
What? No, he doesn't. He's
he
like,
does.
yeah, I'm the great. The Yurks don't see him as an abomination. They see him as like the great triumph.
He's not an Andalite, he's controlling an Andalite. That's
yeah, he
fine.
has an Andalite body.
Yes, and that's great
Gross.
for a Yeerk.
He's in control of an Andalite.
Yeah, but it's gross.
No, what are you
No,
talking
he
about?
conquered his
That is not-
enemy. It
No,
never
even-
said,
even
he's never like,
Visser
ew, I
One.
hate controlling and
Even
conquering
Visser
this
One,
Andalite.
like he decided to become an Andalite.
Visser 1 was grossed out about that.
Yeah.
That
so clearly, like,
That doesn't
even
mean that
Yeerks
Visser
seem-
3 is
That is
grossed
not
out
at all
about
how
it,
Yeerks
though.
feel about controlling people's bodies. They're not like you. They don't get into their body and they're like, you, Jake. Geez, just freaking get your shit
your
together.
hormones in check.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like even like they said like that like they had trouble like controlling the taxon. So I think that like the amount of like just negativity radiating from
Okay, that's not mentioned in the book, though.
So
Where are you pulling this from?
I'm pulling this from my mind. This is my theory. Okay, it's what the amount of
Oh, is this your theory about why Visser is
Yeah.
stupid in the future?
yeah. So just the amount of pure disgust coming from the controller. From the Andalite itself, like just
Yeah.
is messing with Visser's head as he's living in it.
I can. That makes sense.
And I also think that's why every time they look at Visser 3, they say, yes, he's an Andalite, but he's radiating hatred. You can just see dark
Oh,
energy
that's
Are
pretty
you
coming
good.
saying
from
like
him.
he's hating the
That's
fact
pretty
that
good.
he is
That's-
in Aaron's body?
Or maybe that
No,
the
Lauren.
body itself
Maybe
hates
the
being
hatred he's
there.
radiating is from Lauren.
I would.
Yeah.
Which is
I
pretty
would.
cool. I
That
think
would
it's-
make that makes a lot more sense.
Finally,
That's
you
pretty-
like my theory.
Because when Elfangor shows up, the Animorphs are first like,
Shut
oh,
up! Some of your theories are good. Some of them are bad. I don't like all of them.
Well, until yesterday, I've had all of them been hated. So, I'm glad
So
you like
so
the ones
far,
for this book.
Elfangor. Let's just not talk about Stur's theories anymore. So far, like when the Animorphs in the first book, when Elfangor showed up, the Animorphs are like, "Oh, I just felt peace and truth or whatever." Like Elfangor seems to be like Andalites seem to be able to like radiate emotions to other people, and maybe all the hatred they feel from like all the evil they feel from Visser 3 is like a Lauren telling everybody, "Yeah, I'm guy's evil. He's horrible. This guy sucks." But he
That's
can't-
more interesting
like,
than
he
just
can-
Visser 3 being evil.
Like he
and
can't
his
thought
evil
speak
is
to
so
people,
evil
obviously,
that
but he can still like radiate emotions.
Yeah, and in this book, he at least before he gets to Andalite, he doesn't seem like this maniac like person just trying to kill people all the time. He kills one person, but then he just goes crazy killing everyone that says no to
This
him.
is before he eats anyone.
Yeah, so I think that's also part of the reason that Visser 3 seems so unstable in the rest of the series. Like,
Yeah,
he's
poor-
always just eating people for no
He
reason.
really needs to go into retirement. He was at the end of his career when this book happened, and then he got an Andalite body, and then he just prolonged it for
Yeah.
way too long.
When this is a little bit later, but when Elfangor sees the axe ship, he says, "I felt cold hatred of the abomination I'd helped to create." So he's still alive, I whispered. So and I think in pretty much any time someone like gazes on Visser 3, just as he radiates hate energy.
Yeah, and I like this, and like before I thought that was like a little silly, like, oh, he's so evil, and he's radiating like psychic hate energy, but I actually like the explanation that like Lauren is hating, basically hating himself, or hating himself and hating what's his name, Visser, Visser 3, and that's what they're feeling. That's pretty cool. Because like they don't say that when like, Jake doesn't say that about Tom, even though I'm sure he's very angry about Tom being a controller.
Yeah, well, the Tom's controller isn't that evil either.
I guess so.
Now, of course, the other explanation is just of his incompetence that Visser 3 was never that great to begin with. Like you said, he only got ahead because he happened to get an Andalite.
Yeah.
He was never that good of a leader.
Yeah, I guess this book kind of makes that he's not a great leader. All he is in this book is just the guy who saw an opportunity and took it, and that's it. He didn't really demonstrate any actual
Leadership
skill.
skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made somebody kill themselves for his own personal gain.
No,
Yeah, that seems like a normal thing for Yeerks.
No, I assume
Yeerks
that
are
I assume that guy didn't necessarily know what he was getting himself into.
Who?
The guy who helped out.
The guy who pretended to be who went in the body that Sub-Visser 7 used to be in and then got thrown out of the ship.
Oh yeah, I guess they
Yeah.
didn't know that they didn't know that Prince A was gonna throw out of the ship. They might have been like, oh, you're just gonna take me to Andalite jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that Prince A just threw all of his plans out the window because he was like, "Hey, kill him and him and him and those Yeerks."
And we need to get all those helpless Yeerks.
Prince A almost ruined all of Visser 3's plans, but then Elfangor was like, "No, you can't do that. You can't ruin the enemy's plans. How dare you?"
Prince A has such a rage boner for those helpless Yeerks that I wrote, did a ship full of helpless Yeerks run away with his wife or something? He seems to very. Have,
Yeah,
he seems to have a very. He seems to have like a freaking.
I
vendetta
assumed
against
like
them.
he was just like going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, he was angry. He was just really, really angry about how everything turned out, and also how Elfangor didn't. He's one of those guys who, like, if something doesn't go his way at the beginning of the day, and then a bunch of other things go wrong, he like connects it to the thing that didn't go his way at the beginning of the day, and so then he's like, "This is all your fault, Elfangor. You have to do this."
and he has also shown indications of like at least knowing, being familiar with PTSD. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's super. He definitely has it.
So maybe he has, yeah.
So that might be part of it too. Is like I don't want to see these jerks mess up all my plans again. Like they've done.
I want that done. I'm just gonna do it. That's what I want to do because I'm sick of taking orders from freaking wrists.
Do you want to talk about when Elfangor plays as Visit 7 or whatever?
Let me see. I think I have.
What's anything in between that?
Oh yeah.
I think I have my. Let me look at that.
Elfangor just says evil sounding stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He's like,
I'm gonna read it off if you don't. Unless, are you looking at stuff you have in between that or?
No. I'm good.
What chapter is
Go
that?
ahead. You're good to
That's
go.
chapter 227.
27? Yeah, nothing. I just have another quote from Visit 3 where he's like, "Man, thanks for getting in Prince A's way. Haha, I win."
So yeah, after Elfangor goes and gets the time matrix from the Taxon homeworld or whatever, he goes back to the ship and then suddenly Sub-Visitor 7 is inside the Andalite's body, Elrond's body, and then the Sub-Visitor 7 calls some ship's over. So then Elfangor tranquilizes Visitor, and then he goes on a Skype call with the bug ships, and he pretends to be Visitor 3. What's he say?
He says, "Look, guys, look! I controlled an Andalite. Yay!"
Yeah. He just like he starts a Skype call, and one of the Hulk producers just stares at him, and he's like, "What? You don't recognize your sub-visitor? Ha ha! I have done it, you fool! As I said I would. I have acquired an Andalite body." And then he's like, "Oh, see the Andalite on the ground? Good. You're not blind as well as stupid. I want to see him run. Do you understand me? As soon as we have lifted off, make him run. And then when he's good and tired, when his knees buckle with exhaustion, make him dead. Dead. And if you fail me, I will feed you to the taxons. 7 out."
You're so good at that, Elfangor. I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, that was some good Visitor roleplay.
Yeah.
Fool!
I
Ha ha ha!
Haha, fool.
Yeah, all you need to do is punctuate everything with haha and fool. You're halfway there.
Why does he say to make him run before killing him?
Just to get him, just so that they waste a bunch of time.
Yeah.
He didn't want him actually dead?
Well, okay, it was a distraction because if he was dead, they would have killed him, and then he would try to escape, and then it'd be like, "Hold on, stop going away." And then they'd like catch on to him faster.
Exactly.
So they wanted them to be preoccupied with the Andalite.
Okay, I see. And I guess maybe he didn't want
They wanted to
Alon's
get him
body to
farther
be dead
away.
either.
Well, I don't know if he was thinking about that. Well, yeah, he did tell him to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he
hoping
was
it
just
would
trying.
Maybe he was giving Elrond a chance to get away.
I think he was just hoping that they would get away from him so he could make his escape. He didn't want them to kill him right away because then they'd do it in like a second and they'd be like, "Okay, now what?"
So then
They'd
they
be like, I'm going now.
Bye-bye.
I'm going on vacation."
Well, maybe he'd just keep up the roleplay and he'd just like send out a bunch of York fleets and just say, "Okay, I guess this is my new life now. I've dedicated to this. I guess I'm Visitor 7 at this point."
There's some wacky hijinks with the time matrix. They have to like disguise it as a beautiful woman to get it through some hallway full of Yerks, and then they can send it to the Andalites.
But yeah, so that gives me enough time to escape into zero space with the two humans and stuff.
Which is white. This is where I said zero space is white. I spent 12 books thinking it was black, like space.
I picture zero space as just like, I mean, it's obviously silent because actual space is silent too, but it's just like nothing. You're just like sitting in a white void. You are moving apparently, but like they are, or maybe they aren't. I don't know how it works, but
I just assumed it was like you're in a ship, but
you might
the
be moving,
outside
but
of
it doesn't.
it's like your eyes are closed.
Yeah, you are moving, but it doesn't even. Okay, you're not. You might be moving, but it doesn't matter because there's no zero space. Is like there's not space there. It's just.
For everyone who is not here in the room right now, Be Natural did a hand motion that was like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't, but they can't get out of zero space because the Yerks are tracking them, and they'll be able to spot them wherever they pop out, and they'll be able to follow them. So they're just waiting to figure out what to do.
Now is that just because the time matrix like radiates energy?
How did they put the tracking device on there?
They looked at their license plate.
I assume it was just. I thought it was because they would be able to sense the energy of the time matrix suddenly coming out of Z-space.
That's the
Oh,
impression
yeah.
I got.
Oh,
Okay, that
that's
makes
right.
sense.
Because
That's
it's
how
like,
they-
it's like
that's
the
how
most powerful
Arbron-
thing in the universe.
That's how Arbron found the time matrix in the first place.
Yeah, so
That makes
as soon as the
sense.
time matrix comes back into space, every freaking ship is going to know where it is because of how powerful, how much energy it goes off. Especially now that the Yurks know it exists and where it is, basically.
One thing that I noticed is he could just like shot Visser 3 himself instead of saying, "Hey, how about you make him run around and then shoot him?" and he'd
That
be
wouldn't have
dead
been the
now.
distraction.
He should have eaten him. And then he'd be like, "Oh, yum, Andalite's in my belly now."
That wouldn't have been the distraction.
Yeah, I know, but this book just made me think, man, there have been so many times I could have just like picked up a Dracon beam from like a dead taxon and then like shot Visser 3 and then he'd be dead.
Well, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then Elfangor coaxes the Yurk that's in Lauren's head out, but this is just before they jump into Z space. He coaxes the Yurk out and he promises to freeze it and then put it out into space.
Well, he says because the alternative is either you're going to starve to death or I'm going to launch you out into space.
Well, he said no. All he says is I'm gonna put you in like a freeze state.
Yeah,
Like
so
a-
either you starve to death
like
or
a
I'm gonna
Ziploc
freeze you.
bag that also halts aging. and
Deep
stuff.
hibernation, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hibernation.
Yeah, he doesn't
And-
say I'm gonna launch you into space.
And no, he does. He
Does
says
he?
it- yeah, I think so because he says like, well, actually, I don't know if he told the Yurk.
No, he
but
doesn't
the
tell
point...
the Yurk that he's gonna launch the Yurk into space.
Okay, well, anyway, the point was that like the Yurk might be found and revived, except he's like, no, but I did make sure to launch him right next to a star,
Yeah.
which is like that's pretty ironic considering that this whole thing happened because you didn't want to kill a ton of Yurks earlier. Who
Yeah.
were
Well, now-
Can-
now
can I-
he's
can I-
just
can I read the
yeah.
I think it's
passage?
really
Yeah.
stupid.
After I crawled out of Lauren's ear, I froze it. After it crawled out of Lauren's ear, I froze it. And then I ejected it from the ship into the vacuum of the old space. Someday it might be found and revived. More likely it would sink into the gravity well of a star and be incinerated. Especially since I made sure to eject it close to a sun. Maybe that wasn't living up to the spirit of my deal with the Yurk. But somehow I just didn't care. My notions of proper behavior had brought disaster. I was a fool.
So
Yeah,
now
I
he's
think
just
that
like-
last line kind of saved it. Otherwise, I would think it's really stupid.
Well, yeah.
A silly child living out storybook notions of decency and fairness. There was no decency in war. Lauren had tried to teach me that. I learned it too late.
Yep.
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 Yep. And then Elfangor has some like discussions of like PTSD kind type stuff. I wish I had more words to describe this because like all I can say is PTSD. He says, "What was home
It's
anymore?
trauma, I guess you could say.
Trauma. What was home anymore? Was I supposed to return home to my parents, run free on the old familiar grass, spend my day with my old childhood friends? I wasn't a child anymore. My home was still there, but I would never belong there again." Then Elfangor and Lauren flirt some about politics and Earth, and Lauren's like, don't smoke cigarettes, and then Elfangor's like, okay.
Wait, what chapter are you on?
They're 29.
I have known about 28.
Okay.
So it explains why Visser isn't able to give all the Yurks morphing power. Because he knows about all the capabilities of the weapons, he knows about all the locations of the ships, but he wasn't a scientist, so he isn't able to give the Yurks morphing technology or computer software.
Because he's not a scientist, yeah.
So he will still be the greatest intelligence victory in Yurk history.
So,
but yeah, so if this was a Andalite scientist, like they'd be completely screwed. But since he's just a warrior,
Well-
they don't have all that technology that the Andalites have.
Well, even if it was a New Age Andalite warrior who they want to be scientific and artistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just because he was this old guy who hated all this new artsy
Newfangled-
Andalite stuff.
Yeah.
It's the only reason that the Yurks can't morph, because of Prince A's character.
So Brad explained why Visser 3 isn't able to give morphing to all the Yurks and stuff.
And he also says that, like, I have given them in one day what
Man,
100
imagine
years
if
of
the Yurk
spying
could
could
morph.
do.
Then they wouldn't really ever need to be controllers.
I
would
don't
they?
think the Yurks want to like demorph every 2 hours into little slugs. I feel like that would be very inconvenient.
Oh,
for
and
them.
no,
they still need ways.
Well,
yeah.
wouldn't they just purposely become a Notlith?
I think Yurks
Yeah,
still
they
want
can
to preserve their
purposely
species.
become a Nothlit. Jeez.
Yurks might still want to preserve their species.
No, because being a slug is the worst thing that could ever happen to anyone ever.
I mean,
Duh.
they've never went into the mind of what they have the Yurks complained about being slugs. I
No,
don't
they're like,
recall
as
any.
long as I can get into a body, I'm all good.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they could just be another body full time.
I don't think I mean, I bet Yerks. I bet Yerks must
If
make.
Yerks truly didn't care about being
Yerks
slugs,
must-
there's no reason they would not.
It
ever
must
be
feel
slugs.
good to be in a Kandrona rape.
Yeah,
pool.
I was just gonna say that. I think Yokes are probably happy when they're little slugs in the Kandrona.
Yeah, it
pool.
must feel good because it's like it must feel good because they.
You're with all your friends, all your sluggy friends.
Yeah, and you're soaking up rays, and it must feel good because otherwise, that's how evolution works. Something has to compel them to come back.
I think we'll have to wait until one of the Animorphs tries morphing a Yerk to see what the inside of their mind's like. What the Yerk thinks of itself and its instincts.
Yeah. Oh, did we mention that Elfangor wants to set a trap?
I don't think
We
it was very
didn't.
important.
Yeah, basically
So
the-
Elfangor wants to go to where he knows some Andalite ships are
The Star Sword from earlier.
and hang out with them. Yeah, the Star Sword, and hang out with them. So that when the Yerks follow them, they'll shoot them up.
Yeah, but then
And
there's
that's
a
why
bunch
he
of
ends up where he
asteroids.
is. Yeah. Oh, and then they say some cool stuff about dimensions. Okay, well,
13, I think,
space-time is
10.
10 dimensions. There are normal dimensions of up, down, left, right, and forward, back. Then there's a fourth dimension, which is time. Then there are 6 other dimensions, but they are curled up into themselves, so we don't see or feel them. All we feel are 3 space dimensions plus time.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
This is when he
And it
explained
talks
about.
like how the elements exist in different dimensions.
That
but we can't
explains,
see it.
yeah, and that explains zero space too.
And zero space is a different dimension too.
And he said, "Is this when he talks about like the box thing?
Yeah.
When he's
Yes,
like, if you drew a
the
little man on,
flatties.
if you drew a little man on a piece of paper,
Little man.
and then like he's in 2 dimensions. If you drew a box around him, he'd be stuck there. But then you could like take him off the piece of paper, and he would have no idea what's going on. And that's like what the elements can do to us basically, because they're like in like dimensions higher than the.
So this is a concept that I've seen explained in more depth in a lot of other like kids science fiction books.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Applegate did it too, but like I'm glad she did that.
I don't
But
think I've
it's
seen.
like-
I don't think I've seen this in kids' science fiction books. Mostly where I've seen like the concept of dimensions is Flatland and just like Wikipedia articles that I've read.
Doctor Who.
I have okay.
I've seen it in stuff written by kids.
I don't think I've seen it in kids. The only other kid science fiction books I can think of at the moment are like freaking like My Mom's an Alien.
Okay, well,
Like
so
Bruce
what
Colville or whatever.
you're just saying you didn't read any other good kids science
I did- I
fiction
definitely
books,
didn't.
My
so-
girlfriend is a zombie.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
best friend is from Mars.
My dog is a robot. Question
Exciting.
mark. Exclamation
My
part.
dog is a robot.
My dog is a robot?
Dude, A Talking Cat is my favorite science fiction.
A talking cat? Why don't we watch that?
That
It's
is
so
much more
boring.
boring than Slender Man, I promise
It
you.
is the longest movie in existence, and it's only like half an hour long.
Okay. Anyway, I just think Flatty is a really gross sounding name.
Flatty?
Yeah.
From Flatty.
Well, it's flatties. Yeah, I don't
Flatties.
know.
Is that what he calls the 2-dimensional hypothetical
Yes.
people?
Oh, it does.
Flatties. Oh, it's capitalized too.
So that's an official Animorphs term.
The Flatty wouldn't even know what happened. Dude,
Which would
I
be
I
them
hope
if
one
they-
time the Animorphs like run into some Flatties and they have to like morph into them or something.
They should make an Animorphs like dictionary and Flatties is in there.
I mean, isn't that what the wiki, Animals Wiki is?
Well, that's an encyclopedia, you idiot. Because I'm talking about a dictionary. God. So,
It's a date, Lauren said. Could we have the Mustang there too? She put her arm around my waist and looked deep into my eyes with her 2 tiny blue human eyes. Anything you want, Elfangor, just no white cylinders.
Yeah, she's like.
I
all
thought that
over
was really
this.
kind of gross.
I thought it was kind of cute.
I mean,
She's
it's
so
weird. It's,
into
it's
it.
like
Cute, but I don't know. I'm just having a hard time.
It's like,
seeing
hey,
the
Elfangor.
chemistry between these two. It's
I
just
saw it.
like, oh, shoot, pew pew, and then randomly injections of, oh my gosh, Elfangor, I love you so much.
She doesn't say that. It's just.
I see why
loves him too
I
much.
see why Elfangor likes her.
And then she
Because
gropes
she's so
Elfangor
nice to him.
randomly.
He's nice to her.
to me, it seems like not very consensual. It's like, oh, Elfangor, you know, in human society, it's normal for you to stick your penis in me right now. It's like, that's not, you can't just touch this guy. He doesn't know what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem very cool.
I can see why
She's
she.
like
No, maybe I
13
just
too.
hate all straight couples.
I didn't.
He's being
I
he's
didn't-
being comforted. He's being comforted in a time when it's very bad. That's very upsetting for him. So
Andalites don't do the whole touching thing.
well, apparently
he's
he
being
does.
comforted. Yeah,
Apparently
he
he's
says
like
he likes it like immediately.
he's being groomed.
No, I didn't. I assumed she was like 17, 18 at this point.
No, she's like 12.
She's like 12.
Oh, see, I always forget that. I always assume every one of these
She's
books is
boy
like
crazy.
17.
Back home, she was like the one who
It's just because
I
he's an
don't remember
Andalite.
like girls touching boys that much when we were at 12 though. I just
Well,
remember
yeah,
them
but
being
that's
like,
'cause
oh
none
my
of-
gosh, Timmy, it's
Yeah,
so
but
cute.
if he was an alien, though, they would
yeah,
be.
because none of the boys were Andalites.
She's like Amy Rose, who just like
blue alien thing.
She's a brony. And then she finally saw the closest thing to a brony that she could legally allowed to fuck, and she was like,
You mean she's into My Little Ponies, and that makes her attracted to bronies?
Her favorite is Rainbow Dash, so she's blue.
You know, ponies are people to watch My Little Pony, not like the ponies, right?
Yeah.
well, I say that to him. I didn't say that.
What?
No,
you said
like, she's really into bronies.
she finally found the closest thing to a brony.
Oh, did I say that? I meant
Yeah.
a pony.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she found the
Like, you realize bronies exist, right?
And
they're not like horse people.
Guys, I'm really into the idea of people who are into My Little Pony. I mean, I know they're not real, but like, I'm a fan of the idea of people being fans of My Little Ponies.
Did we talk about did we talk about the white cylinder thing?
Yeah, we talked about it in the last episode.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and I thought they were Smarties.
Oh, that's right.
I love when Lauren kicks Chapman in the nuts. Before she does that, she says, "Oh, I have so had it with you."
And he says, oof, and she says, oof this, and then kicks him in the jaw.
Yeah, okay, I didn't like when she kicked him in the nuts, but I thought it was really funny that she did that and then kicked him in the face.
And then she says, "You know, Chapman, you are really making the human race look bad. You are seriously embarrassing me."
I'm the one assaulting another human, and you're the one making the.
I'm the one who's
Yeah, what did Chapman
all
do
over
at this
this
point
alien
to
thing.
make her do that?
I'm the one with anger management issues.
I'm the one hugging and kissing on this
What are you
alien
talking
every
about?
time
That was
second
totally
chance I
justified.
have.
I was like, finally, yes.
I like
Hang on,
that
why
part.
did she
I
kick
was
him in the
just
face again?
Trying to be silly.
Because he was,
'Cause
I
he's
don't
a
know, he was
little
on.
brat.
He was up to his old tricks. He was like trying to tell Visitor 32 to like kill Elfangor or something. I don't remember.
Chapman just doesn't trust Elfangor. He thinks Elfangor is trying to kill them for some reason.
So they're trying to like figure out how to not die, and then Chapman just kicks Lauren's feet, and then he grabs the shredder that she was holding, and then he like tries to kill Elfangor. So at that point, Lauren kicks him in the nuts and says, "I have so had it with you."
Both her
Yeah, that
unofficial
just implies
quotes.
that he's just being annoying, not that he's an actual threat.
I mean, he pointed a gun at Elfangor. That seems like a threat.
No, I don't think. I mean, I think it's just like, man, yeah, I'm so freaking sick of you.
And then Chapman says, "Whose side are you on?
Not
Come on, why are
yours.
you trying to team
How
up
is
with me as a human?"
Human who
Since they're making-
sold his species to the Yeerks.
And
They're
wants to
making
kill.
gaga eyes at this
And wants us all to
Andalite.
die because I just hate Elfangor so much. You know, maybe this. What if Chapman is just like into Lauren, and then the minute that Elfangor starts hitting on her, he's like, "Well, I hate him now."
Dude, when I first started reading this, I was like, hang on, Chapman, I know who Chapman is. Is like Lauren like Chapman's wife or something? Like who is this in the past?
No,
But it's like
Lauren
no
is
one.
the person who Chapman ties up and tries to sell for as
Yeah,
a
Lauren,
human
Lauren.
slave.
I mean, like in the past, like you know, they got.
Yeah, I don't.
over that.
Okay, I don't think he likes her. That explanation doesn't hold all.
Yeah,
the way.
Lauren, the name at least has not been mentioned previously.
He just hates the Andalites for no
And
reason.
neither has Hendrik.
Wait, are
Chapman.
so you're like, oh, is Lauren supposed to be a name that we know?
Yeah, because I was like, okay, Alon was mentioned previously. Chapman was definitely mentioned previously. Is Lauren? Was she mentioned previously?
Elfangor was mentioned previously.
But yeah, I searched all the books and no, Lauren's not. The name Lauren has been mentioned, but I guess we'll get to later who Lauren actually is.
Can we just get to the part where they do the time matrix thing? Does anyone have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, that's still this part.
No, the part where they actually touch the time matrix.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true.
No, because we already talked about this crap with the asteroids, so let's just go to the time.
The asteroids
matrix.
sucked. We're done talking about that.
That's
Yeah,
really
I like the
boring.
asteroids.
They all touch the
Okay.
time matrix and it's cool.
Well, first they have to team up to get the time matrix.
Oh yeah, and they like talk about like
Bishop 3's like, okay, we're gonna die really soon. We gotta work together, get it. And then Elfangor's like, well, only if I don't get it. And he's like, no, then you'll just take it and then you'll float away. He says, no, I'd never leave Lauren.
And
he
also Chapman or whatever.
Yeah. And then he sees her. Yeah, he does say, Lauren, I mean the humans.
Yeah.
And then Visser, I'll call him Visser 3. I forgot what he is now. Visser 32, I think.
I kind of wish, this is a very, very tangential, but I kind of would have been funny if there was like 3 humans instead of 2, and the third one was just named Kevin, and he didn't do anything the entire book.
why?
Like, everyone kept forgetting about him.
It's not funny.
That
It's
would
pretty
be
funny. Elfangor is like, and also Chapman, and
They
and
didn't have
the
to
other
make
one.
Chapman evil. He could have just been some guy.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of had to for the story to happen.
Visser 3
Yes.
says, yes, it seems you're correct. Elleran decided you have formed some pathetic feelings for this human female. So he decides, okay, yes, Elfangor wouldn't just grab the ball and then float away. He will come back to me because Lauren is here. So then they team up. But then they still fight over it. 'cause,
I
you
have
know.
2 things to say about Prince A as a controller. First of all, for some reason I feel in this book, the horror of seeing somebody you know as a controller is conveyed more so because Lauren, because Subvisor 7 isn't acting like Prince A.
Not at all.
He's immediately like, so basically Elfangor sees Prince A.
To me, that seems less scary.
Yeah.
Elfangor sees Prince.
Less real.
No, Elfangor sees Prince A as a puppet, and he describes him like moving his hands around and moving his eyes, and it just seems like a puppet. And it just seems like the person you like is like a corpse just being moved around by somebody else.
The fact that he's not pretending to be him seems a lot less. It seems a lot less scary to me.
But the problem is we're already used to Visser 3 and what he's up to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know, but we saw Prince A being himself.
Like
earlier,
if he was
then...
like, "No, it's me, your buddy Prince A, remember," but you know it's not him.
Like
that seems a lot scarier than him just being a puppet.
The last thing Prince A does in this book, maybe it's less scary, but it's a different kind of scary. I think it's like worth noting.
Sure.
The last thing Prince A does in this book is just try and get Elfangor to shoot up these Yeerks, and then he's knocked out, and then he never says another word to another Andalite again for like 20 years. And that's just...
Dude, you're right.
He's just, for the rest of this book, he's just in his own head, and he can't interact with anybody. And that's just the end of his time in the story. And that part...
Until
that's just...
freaking Axe comes along and he's like, kill me, Axe.
Yeah.
And Axe is
Yes.
like, no.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. And that's just something. Another thing, I feel like a lot of stories with who had a Visser 3 character who controls, a Lauren, Prince A, and he's important. They would have made, I feel like a lot of stories would have just made Prince A like a very noble, awesome guy who's like it sure is too bad that he was a controller, and it sure is a huge contrast.
They would have made him into like an Obi-Wan Kenobi where it's like, oh, he was so perfect, that's why he has to die.
Yeah, and it would have been like, oh man, there's such a contrast between Visser 3 and the actual Prince A, but no, he's a jerk, and he's very complex, and he's not very lovable, by himself, but he's like, oh, nobody, but still, he doesn't deserve this, obviously, and he has good intentions still.
Yeah, there's a lot more nuance to it.
This book specifically has great characters.
Well, to me, Prince A is able to, like, look beyond the petty Andalite stuff about honor and all that, and to me that makes him stronger than a lot of the other Andalites.
Yeah, he does.
Which I didn't pick up on until you kept mentioning it.
Me too, yeah.
Who do you think, when they're all touching the time matrix and, like, they all go unconscious and Elfangor's like, the last memory I had was of someone vast and incredible, a being like nothing I could have imagined. It saw me, it saw all of us, and it laughed. Who do you think that is?
An Elemist, obviously.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was that thing that showed up when York died.
Yeah, it might be. Like, why would the Elmist laugh at them?
Because it's like,
haha,
they're all trying to do it at the same time, and he knows it's gonna not do the right thing.
Okay.
And he's like, wow, they're stealing our technology to use it, and they're gonna screw up. That's funny. It's like ironic.
Yeah, like if I saw like 4 little ants like trying to like go into a blender, I'd be like, haha, look at those guys.
Okay.
No,
sure.
I killed them because that's unsanitary.
They're like the freaking, what are they called? Flatties? The flatties. He's laughing at them.
Okay.
Flatties.
Flatties would be fun to laugh at and drop boxes around.
So, the time matrix, when they all touch it at once, it creates a new.
Wait, we're not gonna talk about like specifically like what it looks like when he touches it. Cause I think it's kind of cool.
It's a big ball and they touch it.
Wait, before we get that, I just want to say I think it's really stupid how they have masks on the ship that they just put on and then suddenly they're okay in space.
That's fine, and they only last for 5 minutes.
Isn't that not how stuff works?
There's still tension. Of course, a spaceship is gonna have spacesuits on board.
It's not a spacesuit though; it's just a freaking mask.
Well,
yeah, it's an air mask. It has like 5 minutes to like.
It's an air mask, and it'll keep them alive in space.
It's fine. I mean, whether or not it was a mask or a spaceship or a spacesuit that fit around their entire body was really inconsequential to the story. Like it's not
was, but I knew Applegate knew that it was too.
Applegate didn't want to have a whole chapter about Andalites.
There's a mixture of gases that keep the inside
hard.
of my body perfectly pressurized. How does that work?
It just does. It's magic.
How
does morphing work? Makes more sense than morphing.
She just didn't want to write down.
You guys didn't think it was interesting when they touched the time matrix?
Yes, it was. I just wanted to cover that one stupid thing first.
Oh, okay. Well,
this would be the stupid thing. It might just be like, how am I going to write about these horses trying to put on a full body suit. I know. I'm
They
just
have
saying.
Andalite spacesuits.
If an Andalite wore a spacesuit, would he wear it like this or like this?
No, I'm saying like it's being natural seemed to be moving on to the next part. I was like, what cool stuff happens that you're skipping?
I don't think it's that. I mean, it's true, but I don't want to talk about it. Just like
Okay,
so,
let
Oh,
Mustard
this is
say his
like
thing.
fancy lights and.
Let
colors.
Mustard say his
No,
thing.
it's not just
Okay,
fancy
Mustard
lights
do
and
that.
colors.
Let Mustard say his thing. Let's stop
He-
arguing about whether or not Mustard can say his thing.
He like sees through and around everything at once. He like sees like timelines stretching back and forth from the Yerk back to Elrond, and he sees the pants.
He sees through everyone's pants. He
He
sees
sees
Lauren's
through everyone's
vagina for the
pants.
first time, and then he's like, "Well, I'd smash that."
Stop! She's like 12.
He's also
He
like
saw her in the future.
he saw her in the future.
he saw her big giant boobs in the future, and he's like, "I'd smash that."
No, he saw the whole moment when the timelines entwined. He saw like
He saw the
could
time when
see
they entwined.
he could like see the Yerk inside the head from all angles, and the decision to release a quantum virus, and he felt the emotions like all at once and from all angles, and it was cool.
Yeah, I thought that is cool. That's
Oh, and the
basically
freaking
how...
air masks work for Lauren too. Even
No,
though
they
she's
don't. They
different
say that Lauren
biology.
passes out because the it was
Yeah,
formulated
but
for Andalites.
still-
Well, the Andalites can
The heads
obviously
are about the same shape.
The
He
obvious-
could watch his own vein work.
the Andalites obviously
He
breathe
watches his own
oxygen because
brain,
Axe
watching his
runs
own
around
brain,
on Earth
watching
without a
his own brain
spaceship.
work,
So
it says
that
that.
obviously the Andalites work. Obviously, the Andalites can humans can
It just
breathe
seems
a
like it's
similar.
stretching a bit too far.
No, because they've been breathing the same air this entire book. This
I can't
entire
believe you're so
series.
focused on this. I just like didn't notice that at all.
The
Well, I
Andalites
mean, I
and the
didn't
humans
notice
have
that the
been
Slender
breathing
movie was
the
at night either. So.
Andalites and humans have been breathing the same air this entire series. So it makes sense
Okay.
that if anything, I wasn't expecting.
Well, they have
it-
different
Hey, wait
body
a
pressure
minute.
though.
I wasn't
What kind of
expecting-
air
Maybe.
is there on the freaking mixture planet? thing?
Oxygen at the end.
the Yerks obviously also breathe the same kind of.
It's just a
That
lot
seems
thicker.
so unlikely though.
No,
Well,
it's
they all
thicker.
live on Earth.
No,
The Yerks.
now,
Okay, listen. The
like
Yerks
they say
aren't
when they
going
go
to.
in the Yerk
The
area,
Yerks
like
aren't
they-
going to try and infest a species that doesn't breathe the same air that they do.
So
So that's why. There are species that don't breathe the same air that we do, but they're not involved in the story because the Yerks don't go after them.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
Sure.
Well, except
I've-
he does go on like Saturn to get that like tornado. Plant,
whatever.
Other than
It
that.
doesn't matter.
He
Oh,
needs
yeah,
a
what the
spacesuit
fuck? How
for
did that
that.
thing survive on Earth? Whatever. It doesn't matter. the Andalites just defeat that thing by being like, "How are you surviving on Earth?" and
How are you breathing? And that's like,
yeah,
I didn't think about that.
yeah. Anyway, if anything, I wasn't expecting Applegate to add in to realize the part about the mixture of nutrients or whatever is in there to keep Andalite bodies from suffocating is just slightly off for Lauren, so she's getting weaker. I wasn't expecting that bit of. I wasn't
I
expecting
guess
that
I wasn't
level.
expecting that.
Yeah,
either.
if it was just like it has oxygen, I'd be like, okay, yeah, fine, sure, they go to space, they have oxygen, whatever, who cares?
Well, it was also stuff that was keeping the bodies pressure.
Yeah, but I feel like she defended herself more than I would care about, and you're saying, oh, she didn't explain this enough. I don't know, it seems fine to me.
Okay, well,
I'm glad you brought it up though.
the time matrix thing is cool.
I'm not.
Oh,
I just got attacked.
What? No,
It's okay.
We
It's
agree.
okay, baby. Have a cookie.
Ooh,
what?
that's a big oof.
I'm
What?
sorry. You want me to take the cookie back?
You can have your cookie.
We have a big pile of rocks and cookies behind my butt.
What? What are you talking about?
When you pour it back behind his butt, there's a big rock.
Remember the
Meteorite.
asteroid?
Oh yeah, okay.
I keep saying meteorite, because I'm confusing it with asteroids.
Meteorites when it is in
That's
the
like when
atmosphere
it's on the
or
ground.
something,
Man, I
isn't it?
really don't care.
And some meteors in the sky, meteorite is on the ground or something.
It sounds right.
Man, I really don't
know.
care.
It sounds meteorite.
Anyway,
And then
So-
diorite is when they die and they go in Minecraft and it's a useless stone block.
Are we talking about after they touch the time matrix now?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Not
time
not
matrix.
quite. We're not on the last quota yet. We need to talk about only
I
the
know.
first chapter.
I know.
Of this.
The time matrix creates a whole entire new universe when they touch it, which makes me wonder, does the time matrix just do that every single time, except most of the time it just creates a universe that's mostly the same as the old one?
Well, maybe the Elmists just know what the universe is like, so they're able to make... their universe is only a few miles across.
Yeah.
So maybe the enemies are like, okay, I'm gonna make a good universe.
But I think the reason that the universe was only a few miles across was because like they're all like suffocating and stuff.
Well, no. I think it'd be like,
Okay, see, this is getting into the fourth quarter of the book.
okay, hold on.
No,
but-
this
okay.
is just getting into the universe.
It doesn't
itself.
mention that it's 4 miles across.
Well, okay. Anyway, back to the flatties. Imagine if the flatties tried to like make like a full painting. They couldn't do it. They don't even know what the painting's supposed to look like. It's too big. But I can draw paintings. I can like see all of it at once. But the flatties can't. So they don't even comprehend how to make a universe.
Well, yeah, obviously I think the time matrix has to use some. The time matrix uses those other dimensions to extrapolate.
Yeah.
And uses, like, elemist magic.
none of these
Okay, I'm just
creatures
gonna
know
quick
about
summarize
those.
like what happens when they get there. Then we'll talk about the last quarter of the book.
Okay.
So yeah, they all touch the time matrix, pass out. Axe wakes up. He's back home.
Elfangor.
Elfangor. I mean, there's no Axe in this book. He doesn't exist yet.
I mean, they mention him.
Do you want to talk about the living tree that he talks to?
Yes,
That
this
was pretty
guy
cool.
tree.
I like that.
There's like some Andalite lore about how they like talk to trees when they're kids, and this is like some tree that protected him as a child or
Yeah,
something.
and the tree tells him about the Triforce of Courage and how he has to go inside him to get the spiders out.
Someone talk
Yeah,
about
exactly.
someone talk about the tree if they want, because I have nothing to say about it.
The tree says, "Welcome home, Elfangor. I love you, more," and then they go away.
I like the idea of talking trees, except for when it was in the last unicorn. That was just weird.
So yeah, at first
Talk about that.
at first
I've never
Elfangor
watched that
thinks
full video yet.
at first Elfangor thinks this is his home, but then he's like, hey, some stuff's off. There's friggin' Earth stuff in here and York stuff. That's not good.
Yeah, there's white cylinders. They don't belong on Andalite land.
What the fuck?
Do we have stuff to say about the tree specifically, or should we move on to the fourth part of the book?
No, the tree's cool. Next.
So can we talk about the?
Fala.
Should we summarize the fourth part of the book, or should we talk about like the how the time matrix works first?
What about the time matrix? What do you mean?
It's a big white ball that does magic
No, I was
stuff.
saying,
Oh
like,
well, I guess
when-
okay.
I
Something important
was
with
thinking-
the tree is that it's like it talks to Elfangor about like forgiveness.
Halafala. Hang on, it has a name. It is his
Garibah.
It's his guide tree.
It's his Garibah, his guide tree.
But it also has a name like it.
His name is
Halafala.
Halafala.
Yeah.
Halafala.
And it talks in a deep and simple, powerful
I-
voice. Voice in quotation marks, meaning it doesn't speak in words, just like...
It's just like a whale.
Only a handful of trees have ever spoken in words.
Like whales.
Whales are the trees
takes
of
the-
the sea.
It takes them hours to say a single word.
Oh, that sounds like whales.
I
And
like the image of like Andalite trees.
It
Just
speaks
like
by
learning.
it speaks by just letting him know that it felt his presence.
Now, these are the asparagus trees, right?
I don't think
No.
necessarily.
I don't know what asparagus trees you're talking about.
On the cover, those are the Andalite trees.
I don't think necessarily.
Those just look like plants to me.
Well, that's what he called. He says the trees are more like greeny and less barky than human trees.
Well, yeah, but I don't think necessarily all the trees are the asparagus trees. I think that might just be one of some of the trees.
Okay.
But I guess it could.
Anyway, so yeah, Axe wakes up in this weird place that
Elfangor.
isn't his home. Elfangor. Just assume whenever I say Axe, it's Elfangor, because there's no Axe in this book. I mean, in this book.
Every time you say Taxton, you mean Workbridger.
Maybe.
And every time you say Visser 3, you mean Visser.
He's always Visor 3 to me. You
Yeah,
can't
you
change
don't.
that.
We don't need to worry. I don't think we need to worry about
I
calling.
mean, there's only one Visor in this book, so I've just been calling him Visor usually.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
good-
So yeah, he's in this weird place, and let's last part of the book. Let's summarize and talk about.
Okay,
it.
part last. Part 4 out of 3. Chapter 37. Elfangor wanders through the time matrix world and runs into Lauren.
Can you speak up, like, and get closer, maybe? Not too close, but
Not too close.
you sound. I feel like you're very distant and quiet compared to how I usually talk.
Chapter 37. Elfangor wanders through the time matrix world and runs into Lauren. Visser 32 attacks them, then Lauren climbs on Elfangor's back. They ride to Lauren's house to visit her mom, but she's artificial. Lauren gets sad and runs off to play a game of softball with herself. Elfangor follows Lauren, then they explore the strange world together. They reach the center of their universe and find a space-time vortex. The time matrix is in the center of it. The Visser finds them there. They fight the Visser and get him to walk away. Lauren holds the orb. Chapter 45. 3 years go by and Elfangor becomes human and marries Lauren. Chapter 46. An
Wait.
element.
Can you say sorry? Can you say like the last part before Elfangor becomes human?
They fight the Visser and get him to walk away. Lauren holds the orb. Chapter 45.
And then they zap themselves back to Earth.
Yeah, that's himself
in
back
the
to
real
Earth.
universe.
That's implied by Lauren holding the orb, since touching the orb does stuff.
Nobody
it's
calls
an
it the
orb and
orb.
not the time
Yeah, it's not an orb.
It's a
a time
big
matrix.
ball. How is that
When
not
you
an
said-
orb?
an orb?
When you said an orb, I pictured like a glowing little ball.
That's
in
what
her
I
hand.
picture the time matrix
A
as.
little glowing ball.
That's what I picture the time
That's
matrix as.
wrong!
10 feet
I know.
wide.
Okay,
Wait,
I'm
it is?
sorry.
I didn't know
I'm
that.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I stripped from my notes that said, "What? The time matrix is 10 feet wide." I thought it was the size of a volleyball, but I didn't say it.
I thought it was the size of a
wrong.
baseball. Well,
You remember,
softball.
remember when Lauren
Either
pitches
way,
the
it's
time
an-
matrix at
No,
Visit 3's
it's almost
head?
exactly the size of Zero from Kirby's Dream Line 3.
Yeah,
if you
it
look
is.
at the picture.
It is. Yeah. It's an orb. It's a magic orb that does space
Alright,
stuff.
whatever.
It's
You
an
can't just
sci-fi
say
orb.
Lauren touches the orb, though. You should
I
say...
know.
It just implies that, like, last time they touched the orb, it took them to a parallel universe that was nonsense.
Yeah.
That doesn't just imply it took them back to Earth. This is all staying in.
Okay, yeah, I know. They fight the Visser and get him to walk away. Lauren holds the orb. Okay, so here's another haiku. Then they zap away to Earth. Yay, everyone is back to normal
Wow.
now.
Okay. No, they're not. They're all like 5 years older, and also Elfangor's a human.
3 years, that's the next one. That's the next one. Chapter 45, 3 years go by, Elfangor becomes human and marries Lauren. There, that's
Alright.
settled that. Chapter 46, an element shows up at Elfangor's house and says time is messed up. Then he puts it back to normal. Elfangor is an Andalite again. Elfangor appears in the middle of a fight against the Blade Ship. Chapter 49, Elfangor is an Andalite hero, book 1 of Animorph starts. I skipped the part where he shoots the Blade Ship and then
That doesn't matter.
Yeah,
all that stuff
who cares?
happens. Why does that not matter?
It just doesn't.
That matters.
We already know that it happened.
Okay, it does matter, I guess.
They don't.
Who?
Our listeners.
It's not that important. He's a hero.
We're gonna get
now,
to it. Don't worry
whatever.
about it.
We might
Alright.
not.
I like that. I think this last quote of the book was my favorite part of the
What?
book.
This
What?
was definitely my least favorite part.
Really, I like it a lot. It's my favorite.
It was just
I
like
don't know what's my favorite.
the rest of it was just felt like I was there. Like I was. It was very visceral.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know
then
how to
this one's
describe it.
finally something that isn't horrible.
This part was just like
Hello?
a lot of nonsense. Wasn't very narratively satisfying, and
It
also
wasn't very narratively satisfying.
No,
yeah.
but the
I mean,
rest
I
of the book
guess it was
wasn't.
like you could say, well, the time God wanted this to happen, so it was, and so it was so. But it's not very narrative. Like, sure, I guess I can accept that in this universe, but it's not very narratively satisfying.
But the rest of the book wasn't very morally satisfying. I felt bad reading the rest of it. It
Well,
was so like
Go read
terrifying.
Aesop's Fables or whatever.
Yeah.
I like this whole book, by the way.
The
This
rest,
whole book is
The rest of the book was just Axe and Lauren being cute and walking
not
around Earth.
really.
And
They
doing
only
stupid
got like
stuff.
one chapter
I
of
don't
that
think
where the
they're
Elmis
cute.
shows up and cockblocks him.
No, they get pregnant before that.
Yeah, well, he's like, no more having sex with the Lauren, Elfangor. You got.
You're supposed to.
Okay, I'm
have
talking-
sex
I'm
with
See,
talking-
I
them.
said
talking
no.
about-
I said no
okay.
more having.
Lauren.
Yeah, I said Lauren.
I'm
no
talking
more
about
having
them
sex
flopping
with.
around in like this parallel universe or whatever, not them getting married. That happens way later.
Yeah, she
They're
rides
in this
him.
other place for a long time.
Oh yeah, the part where they're in the parallel universe is good.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't
Okay,
care
okay.
about
I like
ending.
the part after they. Yeah, the part of the parallel universe is good. The part.
Let's talk about
Wait,
that.
that's like most. So what are you talking about? That's like most.
I'm
of the
sorry,
section.
I was confused. The part where they go to Earth is my least favorite part.
Oh
but,
well, the
yeah.
parallel universe is like 90% of part 3.
yeah, okay, I forgot about that.
Well, it's not
Sorry.
parallel universe. It's just.
I'm
a
sorry.
new
I thought we were
universe.
just talking about the very last part.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, yeah, there's this crazy parallel universe.
So it's revealed that this was created because I didn't realize this until this fourth quarter of the book. It was, I think we already said it though. It was created because they were all touching the orb, the orb as it's called officially, the orb.
Yes, it is. It is a magic orb, just like in any other fantasy sci-fi thing. There's a magic orb that does something fancy. Why can't it just be an orb? Why does it have to be the time?
They all touch the
matrix?
time matrix at the same time, and they all
Because
imagine
Andalites
where they
need
want.
fancy names for
Because
everything.
Capelgate said it was a time matrix. Shut up.
I think if you're like, oh yeah, the freaking Thanos' gauntlet, it's just the love.
You mean
Yeah.
the glove?
That's the. I don't call that Mjolnir. I call that the hammer, the fancy lightning hammer. Who cares? I call Link to the Past Zelda
So they call
3.
it like the Elemist orb then,
It's
not
true.
just the orb. I don't know. So they touch the freaking time matrix, and they all imagine where they want to take them. They all imagine
And-
these different
and when.
places and when.
Yeah.
And because they're all thinking about it and touching it at the same time, because they refuse to all come up with something together. They're like, no, I'm doing it. No, I'm doing it. It took them to this freaking weird reality where it's like it was all split together, and like they were like freaking like hard like separations in the sky where it's like suddenly the sky is blue and then it's red and then it's whatever.
And then it's greenish, I guess.
Yeah.
Andalites.
Yeah, different.
No, but Andalites is like orange, isn't it?
Andalite is red and gold,
Yeah.
and Yerkes is
Yeah, red plus
Yerkes
gold
is like
orange.
green and lightning or something.
Yeah, and it sounds really cool, but they're like,
And they're like, oh, this is clearly
this is
terrifying.
hell.
This is
The
awful.
Yerk-
So often,
the Yerk-
Elfangor says, Yerkland bad. Yerk's
the
bad.
Yerkland seemed pretty
Animal
rad.
bad.
I loved
seem
it.
pretty rad.
It said, let me say. Okay, wild, tall, spiky grass and trees that rose only a foot before spreading out horizontally for 30 or 40 feet. Awesome.
Oh, so horrible. I can't
cool.
believe Yerks would live in a place like that.
I was startled by the ground that I was
Wait,
startled.
that wasn't talking about Earth?
No.
No, what the what?
30 or 40 feet wide and only 1 foot tall.
You
Oh,
know,
no.
I'm treated
I
in the
hate it when I go
backyard.
walking in the woods and then I just trip on a 1 foot tall tree that's 30 or 40
Oh,
feet
God, because
wide.
Yerks are just slugs, aren't they? So it'd be like really. Is that why?
They probably have like really strong gravity.
They just- No,
Or
I
something.
don't think so. But that's just how the trees are. for
That's
whatever
just,
reason.
they had to,
And
like...
it said they're 1 foot tall and 30 40 feet wide?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't catch
It's just
that.
that, okay, the trees have to be that short so that the tiny little slugs can pick the fruits off of them.
Yeah.
Ooh, the
Aw.
slugs eat chondronates.
No, but that's adorable.
Maybe some of the Yerks are farmers for other
Oh, I
creatures that
get
don't have
cute.
hands.
All right.
Yerks
so
don't have hands. Are you crazy?
They have little wiggly parts. They have bodies. They can wiggle the.
They have
apples
bodies.
on-
They're picking fruits for all the animals that don't have bodies.
oh, the Yerks are just helpers. That's why they wanted to get. That's why they wanted to control Hork-Bajir and stuff, so they could help out the other animals at home.
I mean,
They just wanted to help.
they're arguably helping out humans.
So then, like a thing like a taxon tongue shoots out of the ground. It's 10 feet long, dark red, and it licks the air in a slow circular pattern.
It slips up a goat that's just walking around.
Then it slooped back into the ground.
Sloop.
Then another tongue reached for a beast that walked past, hunched over. The beast had 4 thick legs toward the back and 2 turned-in legs forward with no discernible head. It wandered straight forward toward the flickering tongue, and suddenly, fast as a tail, the tongue reached out and wrapped around the beast's hind legs. The beast let out a groan. Although, where that sound came from, since it seemed not to have a head, was a mystery to me. The tongue drew the beast toward its hole, but it could not suck the animal down, so it simply held its prisoner as the beast groaned. The sky directly over that dark, unnerving landscape was dirty green and veined with silent lightning. It was awesome. That's awesome. That's such a cool scene.
This kind of reminds me
Yeah.
of.
I mean-
I wasn't paying too much attention to specific details, but this kind of reminds me of Zen from Half-Life.
I guess, yeah, where there's like weird things in the ground.
That tongue thing. So yeah, like there's also like there's like everything from the
You
whole
know,
class,
those are
like,
freaking so
nature.
close-minded. Because when Elfangor goes over to
Doesn't Zen have
goes
green
over
lightning
to Earth,
sky?
he's like, "Oh, this is so much
I
like
didn't
the
see this
Andalite
as
planet.
lightning.
It's so wonderful."
He
and
just
beautiful
likes
and
it because
nice."
there's grass.
He
That's
just likes it because exactly.
It's just because the Yerk homeworld doesn't seem to have grass, and he's like, "Oh, bad."
Well,
Sucks.
if I went to
It's
someone's
worse.
house and I was like, they don't have any food in this house, I'd be like, this house sucks, dude. They didn't get some food in here for me to eat.
Yeah, but what if the house was owned by aliens who drink up Kandrona
I wouldn't want to live there. I'd be like, can you guys like buy me some food? And they'd be like,
I would-
no, we
I
don't
would-
need that.
No, why would they say no?
And because the evil
That's a
Yerks.
waste of money.
I don't know.
Well, and I mean,
No,
with,
if
with
they
the
invited you
Andalites,
over, and they bought you food, yeah, I would be like, you guys are so cool.
I mean, with the Andalites just give the humans grass. They're like, here, eat this.
Yeah.
And then they just find like some like grass milkshakes that are left behind for the Andalites who can't like use their hooves to eat grass.
I don't understand how
Just
that's
drink
still
those.
edible, by the way.
What, for the humans? Yeah, the humans are probably like been malnourished this entire time. Although it's only been like a couple of days.
Give
so
that girl a
they're alright.
hamburger. Oh wait, that's a spoiler.
Yeah, it is.
So
Hang on, does anything interesting happen? They just like basically wander around this place
And
until
then
they
they
find
just
what
wander
they
around.
want.
It reminds me a lot of A Wrinkle in Time, this whole ending part. But
Remi-
except I feel like I was a lot more impressed by A Wrinkle in Time when I was... Like, I feel bad because I feel like when I was a kid, I would think this was a lot cooler than I do now.
oh.
Just because I've read, like, a lot more science fiction now, I guess, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
I thought this was really cool. It reminded me of Off parts of it. Like they're in like this empty land that has like a bunch of like white at the edge of it with parts.
Oh yeah, the
And
part
there's,
where
like, this
they
guy with no eyes.
part where they go
and
to
she's
the
hitting
edge
him
of
with a
zero
baseball
space
bat,
is pretty
And she has
awesome.
these weird alien partners that are following her
I
around.
thought, okay, I don't know what order happens. Do you want to talk about when?
Yeah, but there's nothing really going on plot-wise, and I was just like, okay, can something happen, please?
No,
and
this was my
for a
favorite
long
part.
time,
It was
nothing
It was time
happened.
to breathe.
My favorite part is when she was just like getting a hamburger and going in the house and
Yeah,
actually saying a bunch of funny
so what
like,
happens?
Elfangor saying a bunch of funny
Axe
stuff.
is here alone.
Elfangor.
Elfangor.
I don't.
Elfangor
That's
is-
2 times in like the span of half a second that we both messed up his name.
Elfangor is alone. He finds Lauren. He's like, "Hey, Visit 3 is probably somewhere." I know he's not Visit 3, but I'm calling him that. Visit 3 is somewhere around here. Let's wander around and see what's up. And Lauren's like, "Hey, let's go to my house," because house was here because she imagined it. And do you want to talk about that?
I held her hand as she. Okay, so they reach your house and there's the front door. I held her hand as she walked up a series of 4 steps. I wondered about the steps. Were they a way to slow down any approaching enemies so that no one could charge directly into the hollow house?
Nice.
And then later he says humans are very partial to rectangles. He notices everything's a rectangle with humans. The doors are rectangle, the steps are rectangles,
Yeah.
the walls are rectangles.
Well, the 2 highest selling games ever are Minecraft and Tetris.
Oh
so
my
humans
gosh,
just
yeah.
really love
We
squares.
just love rectangles.
So,
I stole that from a Tumblr post, by the way.
okay, cool.
I just rolled yay because
Well,
she
try
rides
playing
X.
Minecraft with spheres, okay?
Oh, wait,
Elfangor.
what
Yeah,
chapter
it
did you write at?
sucks. Try playing it
Uh,
with scoops. These
Half circles.
freaking aliens live in ice cream.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do they run into Visit 3 before they go to the house?
I don't think it matters.
Like
Doesn't matter.
he has like these creatures who have wheels or something, and he's like, "Oh, these are my pets," and then he
That's
attacks them with
before.
them and
That's
stuff.
before. That's well, they run into him twice, and the first time it's before, but they just
Oh,
run away.
there was some important lore here. He had these 2 pets things and their wheels, and they're really fast and they attack and stuff.
I don't care.
And he says lore. He says that their brains are too small for Yerks to control.
oh yeah, that was,
I thought that was
lore.
we haven't heard about like any specific like size limitations of Yerks, so now we know that some things are too small for Yerks to control.
Yeah, that's what made me wonder if the taxons were even intelligent, because this makes it clear that do they even need intelligence?
Well, I think they have They must have large brains because I think they have a lot.
Well, I think taxons are
I think-
intelligent, but
They're just
like
goopy inside.
Visor 3 has talked about going. I think he talks about keeping some animals around so Yerks could try going in different animals.
Yeah.
Even though animals aren't. Really
Maybe these
sensitive.
things just have really, really, really small brains, even if it's not necessarily like proportionate to how big they are or how smart they are.
So they can't squeeze in the crevices of the brain to control it because they just can't physically fit in there. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, that's interesting, but how then does Visor 3 morph into something that's smaller than an Andalite?
It's like how the Animorphs morph clothing. The
Magic.
So the Yerk is like skin tight clothing on
no,
the end.
yeah, the Yerk just goes into zero space.
Well, how does he control his brain then?
Well, he's
'Cause he's
the
part
same
of the
the same
brain.
way
His
that
body goes in zero
The
space.
same
but
way
his
that the
brain
Animorphs-
stays behind.
Well, okay,
no,
wait,
it's
guys.
the same way that the Animorphs are still like intelligent humans inside of a mouse body.
No, keep
Like
in
a human
mind.
brain can't
So
fit
his
in a mouse.
soul is still there, but his Yerk body isn't.
Yeah, they're basically their human brains are like all the gray matter of the brain that allows them to be intelligent is sitting in zero space, directing the hawk or mouse body or whatever, and that's what it's allowing them
Oh.
to. I mean, this is all implied. I don't think they ever
Yeah.
say this.
No, I was
Yeah.
thinking at this point, Visor 3 has only morph stuff that is either about his size or bigger than him.
I think he has, because that stuff has just been the most beneficial.
Yeah, he
Well,
doesn't he wants to be
Jake's
strong.
Yerk morphs an ant in book 6.
Oh, you're right.
Right.
That is weird.
There you go.
Anyway,
So
Mom,
yeah, Mom.
the scene was scary.
There was
I've read a lot of things that are like this scene.
Yeah,
I was
but
just at this point, I was just kind of waiting for it to be over.
What?
She's like, "You're not my mom," and I'm like, "Duh."
Well,
Why
yeah,
would
but
she
it was
be?
scary. So she walks up to her house and she's like, "Oh, you brought one of your friends there?" And she's like, "What? Hey, it's an Andalite, Mom." I was like, "Oh, what? Do you think I don't know what Andalites are just because I'm old? Are you kids and you're freaking assuming we don't know anything?" And she's like, "Mom, you're not my mom."
she's crying.
And she starts crying, and it was intense because
Yeah.
she's just like the soulless, just like memory of her mom, because like she created this universe that just has her mom in it.
One thing that blew my mind is Elfangor just randomly picks up a book off the shelf, and he like starts reading it, but like in the middle the text just stops, and it says, "Oh yeah, that's right, 'cause Lauren hasn't finished it, so she couldn't reform the rest of the book from her memory, so it's
Which
only
makes
half
me
finished."
wonder how she forms all of Earth from her memory.
Yeah, I would have thought that the book would just keep going, but the words would be like.
But what do you mean she
nonsense.
forms all of Earth?
No, she forms her neighborhood.
Well, yeah, because she's seen her neighborhood.
Yeah,
I mean like later on when she touches the time.
She doesn't form all of Earth. She is able to remember it well. Like I don't think it creates a new universe every time. I think
So it only created a new universe that time.
It created a new universe because it was so separated. There was all these different thoughts, and it was like, I'm not gonna try to figure out what you're talking about. I'm just gonna get exactly what you remember. But if you're only focused on one specific place, it's like, okay, I can take you to this place. But if you're trying to get 5 different places, it's like, I don't know where you want to go. Nothing matches this exact thing. I just have to make a new thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
yeah, I thought that part with the book was cool.
I don't remember that. That's cool.
So then, and then Elfangor, and then I wrote down one thing that the mom says. She says, "Leave the door open a crack." That's the rule in our house when Lauren has Andalites over to
I
play.
put a note by that one too.
It's like, is Mrs. Lauren racist against Andalites?
No.
Or does
like she just assumes that Elfangor is gonna
like
get
dangerous?
all naughty with
Like,
Lauren.
Or does
Oh,
she think
yeah.
that does she think that
that.
Lauren likes to get naked with Andalites? Although that makes sense because given Lauren's behavior towards
Yeah.
Elfangor.
I mean, this is created
Lauren
Dude,
consciously is aware of the
Yeah.
fact that she's sexually attracted to Elfangor.
this is all created
and she
based on her
projects
memories.
it on her mom.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
like, you guys gotta have the door open.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, that's the rule when she
Oh,
has
man.
Andalites over to play, because she's a freaking Andalite, Lauren with those Andalites, man.
Did you guys not want to hug the Andalites and like ride them and stuff?
Yeah, dude. Okay, yeah. So she jumps on Axe and like not Axe.
Well, I just think of Andalites like humans, and I don't think I would act around a strange Andalite as I would around like a stranger.
Well, no,
Like
I wouldn't.
humans
I'd, like, hug
look
them
kind of
and-
cute sometimes too, but I don't like just go up and hug them.
Well, no, but if I know it and it's like, yeah, you can hug me and ride me, I'll be like, yay.
Anyway, so the reason she rides Elfangor is because they have to like get away from these wheel pets that Visser has or whatever, and then
And his back is not too slow.
yeah, and he's like, hey, you're not fast enough, so hop on my back, and then she rides him, and I was like, yes, she rode him. That's
No,
great.
she's like, I'm not fast enough, so I'll ride on your back.
Oh, yeah, he
It's-
doesn't-
It's
he
definitely not his idea.
Yeah,
it's
she's
not
like-
his idea.
Wait, she doesn't. She even says like, "Hey, how strong is your back?" Ah, never mind.
Oh yeah, she just like gets on him. That's right.
Yeah.
She's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'll just deal with it."
She just
let it
notes
happen.
him.
And she just assumes that he'll be able to run fast with her on him, and which he luckily he can. But okay,
I like.
like it would have been kind of funny if his back just broke.
And like episode 7, I was like, "Man, I really want someone to ride an Adelaide," and then it happened. I was happy.
They should do this more often. They ride off into the sunset.
They do.
So then they just go around the universe. They meet.
They
her
go to
mom.
McDonald's. That
Her,
part is
her mom
scary.
asks if they want pop and cookies. So I guess Lauren isn't from South Carolina.
Well, I assume Lauren was from like California because that's what she goes after.
Oh,
Well, Pop
is it?
is.
Is that
Oh
it?
yeah, because they meet Steve.
They meet Steve and
Okay.
Bill.
Wait, but then is Silicon Valley California?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I know all about
how
Silicon
would,
Valley.
So Lauren
not...
just moved to South Carolina then?
No, not Lauren Chapman did. Wait.
Principals usually
No,
like, move
because
across the
Tobias
country.
is from South Carolina.
Tobias's aunt and uncle live in South Carolina.
Oh, that's a good
Oh, that's
point.
right. Okay.
Okay.
So
Alright, anyway.
they go to Mickey D's. Lauren calls it Mickey D's.
I love this scene.
I don't like calling it Mickey D's.
I've never heard anyone call it Mickey D's.
I have before, and I was so surprised that was actually a thing.
Yeah, I thought that was just a thing dumb kids at my high school called
It was
it.
in the 70s, I guess.
Who like worked at McDonald's. Like, oh, I gotta go to my job at Mickey D's.
Like, I
haha.
heard some kid in middle school say it like that, and he was immediately bullied by everyone within a 5-meter radius.
Oh, see, everyone here thought it was cool. I mean, in my school.
She placed another hand on my rump, right at the base of my tail.
What?
Yeah, she's just touching.
She
whatever.
touched his butt.
Nice.
Okay, Google says that the name Mickey D's has been cited in print since at least 1976.
Oh.
So this is like 1974, so I guess it was just like slang right at that point.
Well, yeah, you don't want to stuff in print until after a while.
Yeah.
Also, we don't know exactly when this takes
So yeah,
place.
she's walking around. She's like, man, why didn't I brought the school here, but
Oh,
not
yeah,
a
so that's
grocery
not even
store.
anachronistic. Good job, Capelgate.
Wait, what?
It's not anachronistic. Good job, Capelgate.
What?
It's not anachronistic.
What does that mean?
We don't know what that
It's
means.
not out of place. It makes sense in this
Oh,
timeline.
okay. So yeah, she didn't bring us. She brought this freaking school over, but no freaking grocery store, and then she goes to Mickey D's,
Probably because she doesn't. Maybe she hasn't been to the grocery store. Maybe her mom just goes.
and she goes to Mickey D's, and the cashier is this freaking eyeless guy with a bunch of acne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, because
It's not awesome. It's
Yeah,
disgusting.
it's-
And then that part. Okay, that part did kind of freak me out.
That's why it's
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah,
It's like
because
something
No, I'm not glad it happened.
she like remembered that she's like,
I'm glad
oh,
that
this
she's
guy who my
willing to
friends.
put this stuff in the book.
This is like some guy who my friends say liked me, and all I notice about him is his acne, and so just in her memory, he's just this guy who just doesn't have eyes and a bunch of acne. He's like, "Hello, what can I take your order?"
He's so chill. And,
And then she just buys a hamburger from him and eats it.
Yeah, all she's been eating is grass.
Yeah.
I would do that too.
Axe
Be
said
starving.
that the McDonald food smelled foul. I took note
That
of
makes
that.
sense because he's a vegetarian. He's an obligate
he
vegan, and
clearly
she's
thinks that
eating
it
cheese
tastes
and hot dead animal, and also grease, which is like probably not something Andalites are familiar with.
But yeah, she did start feeling better once she ate.
Yeah, I really like when they get to the edge of the universe and it's like there's.
Wait, I want to talk more about the sad monstrosity of the McDonald's
Okay.
man.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to say.
Sorry, I keep trying to move
about
on.
him.
I'm sorry.
The sad monstrosity.
Yeah, that's like how everything in Off is like that. When I liked it, I'm not sure if I want to mention Off though.
Why
This
not?
is like the third time you've mentioned off.
Stuart, it's so cringy.
I
that
think I
you
mentioned
like
off in like episode like 2.
Wait,
Wait, actually, I cut that out, I
should I
think.
mention the connection that I have to off?
Oh sure, yeah.
That's literally where my Discord name comes from, Stuart.
Your podcast name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is my podcast name.
All right. Well, okay. So then they go to the edge of the end universe.
It's up to you, avid the listeners, to figure out what the connection is.
Hang on.
Mustard,
hey,
it's up to you
question.
what you're gonna leave in.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna keep this all in. Who cares? Question for you guys:
Okay.
how long are French fries at McDonald's?
At
Like
McDonald's,
4 inches.
they vary from like half an inch to like 7 inches.
They get pretty long. They can get like
They
that.
don't
long.
get this tall. They get this tall. They get like
Some of
3
them get
inches,
some of
4
them get
inches.
too long.
Yeah.
Her mouth was filled with 2-inch long pale yellow sticks called French
She
fries.
she was cleaning out the ones at the bottom.
Yeah, and maybe she like broke them in half.
Yeah.
Why would you? Do you break them in half? They're too soft. They don't snap. They just like bend
Yeah.
and squeeze.
Yeah.
I guess
Point
if you're gonna
half.
fill your mouth with them, you would take the ones that are like 2-inch long.
Maybe he only saw the ones that were sticking out. It was like 2 inches.
Maybe
sticking
her
out of
favorite
mouth.
ones are the 2-inch long ones, and so that's the ones that the guy had in her memory.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, I was just like French fries on 2 inches.
Man,
long.
imagine if you go to McDonald's, you get French fries and all the exact same
Yeah, I think I
length.
had that thought
That'd be
too,
creepy.
but then I didn't care.
I cared.
Well, all right.
Oh, it's not. It's totally realistic. They have face masks that allow them to
Yeah.
survive in space, but
But
2 inch
2-inch
long
French fries. That's where I draw the line.
That's something he's very passionate about. Is the
Listen, I haven't been to space, but I've been to McDonald's, and they don't have 2-inch long French fries. I can tell you that. Yeah, they. Can I just keep saying they flap around? Because I think it's funny.
Yeah, I
What
like
do?
the word flop.
I just keep saying they flap around this universe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I've said it like 5 times. And no one said anything about
So
it.
is this where they get closer to the center? And
No,
Well,
first they-
Axe looks up at the sky and is like, "Oh, I noticed there's actually a pattern of where the 3 different
No,
universes
hold on.
split."
First they flop around and they get flopped to the edge, and then Lauren
yeah.
like flops over the edge, but it just bends backwards.
Yeah, she like puts her hand like through the edge and just like comes back at her, and then she puts it away in streams.
Yeah, she's like, because she like, yeah.
Because she reaches out her hand and the hand reaches back, and that's all that happened.
Which
Yeah.
is
Oh
pretty
wait,
awesome.
so she puts her hand out, but then her hand comes back like that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't imagine it's like a portal. I imagine it was just like it was straight up like bent like in a very unnatural way. That
Yeah,
but it,
me
like,
too.
didn't
I
feel
was really
weird.
scared by that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I
This
would've-
book has a lot of stuff that I don't think Animorphs
I
is
would have
willing
loved
to
to just
do.
jump into it and see what happens.
Animorphs hasn't had scary
I
stuff
think
like
she would
this
just like
since,
slide
book
off
3,
it,
yeah.
but like just like flip.
She would just like, she would just she would like turn inside out and come back.
Yeah,
Like her face would like phase through the back of
she'd
her
flop
head.
off it.
Yeah.
My next one after McDonald is just Steve and Bill with like a silly.
What?
That's
I-
way far.
That's
That's-
so
Yeah, I know.
far.
Shut up.
I'm just pointing out. So like, you guys are gonna have to like kind of explain what happens. Cause
Okay.
I have no notes for this part. That's
So-
all I'm saying.
So Elfangor finds out how to find the middle of the universe, and they go to it. It's planet Earth, of course. It's me. I'm in the middle of the universe.
the
They
middle,
find
the middle
me.
of this universe they created.
Oh, okay. So the middle of this universe they created, and as they get closer to it, this time starts speeding up.
Well, first, I like the description of what things look like closer to the center. They say there were no longer clearly different patches of Andalite, human, or Yerk terrain. Trees and grass, Scoopenhouse, and sludgy natural Yerk pools all seem to meld together.
Also, they like just refuse to walk through the yerk.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's too gross.
it's
We're
freaking
gonna
ridiculous.
avoid that.
It's-
Even though it
yeah.
might
They
be
don't
slow,
want to get
we're
eaten
not
by
going
those
through that.
tongues.
They're
I
too
guess.
big.
What do you mean they're too big?
And
then
here's
we
a
watched
tail.
the tongue try to eat something and it couldn't pull it down.
Well,
And
yeah,
that
so
thing
I
was
assumed
like-
it was just holding it there until
Until it
like
starved.
it could poison it
Poison
until it
it?
could like
Until it
poison it or
poison it,
something.
and then
I
it
assumed it was
dies.
like gonna break it up into smaller chunks. And
I assume it's gonna
I
wait for it
didn't
to
assume that.
decompose.
yeah, and it was gonna die a horrible death,
Okay, fine. I guess that's a legitimate complaint.
like
still,
a spider,
I
like a
think-
bug caught in a spider web.
One acts way faster. Two, he has a tail. So I don't think that's a threat. I think he just is.
I would rather not.
I'd rather I could grab my one. Anyway,
So you kind of skimmed over like how they went to find the center. I thought it was cool, because it wasn't like the logical center of this universe they created, because it was like built by a fourth dimensional being.
There's a 4-dimensional center.
It was like a 4-dimensional spiral, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I noticed in the sky where like the different universes are like stitched together. It's like a pattern, but it's not like an obvious like 3-dimensional pattern. It's like a 4-dimensional pattern, and we gotta find it's like kind of creates a spiral, but it's like a hyper spiral, and we have to find the center. It's kind of hard because it's not like obvious where the center would be.
But Elfangor just knows it, so it's alright.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah,
the
and,
Andalites are infinitely smart. So
and he's like,
it's not a
if I can
problem.
find it, that means the Visitor can find it. So we gotta hurry up and find it.
But they do find it first.
And then they go to McDonald's or something.
No, Visitor's there when they show up.
What? No, Visitor.
They show up there
Oh.
right around the same time.
No, they go there and the Visitor's like, well, hello.
Yeah, he jumps out from behind the spiral.
What?
He's
No.
already there.
No, if he got there first, he just grabbed the orb. So he didn't get there first.
Okay, whatever. Doesn't really
Alright,
matter.
well,
they
get
show up
there
around the
basically
same
at
time.
the same time.
So
Despite the fact that they just wandered around and went to McDonald's first.
yeah, was it
Visitors
McDonald's
wandered
first? I don't
around.
know.
Visitor wandered around and went to Yerk McDonald's first.
Visitor's wandering around and picking up pets.
Yeah. He was
Said,
like,
look at
"Oh
this
hi,
cute little thing with
Jeddah," or
wheels.
whatever their names were. He had their names.
Oh, the Cinnamon wheels
Better
are
get
so
a Jeddah.
cute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
they
gotta
were
edit
like
that
they did
out.
rhyme, didn't they?
So I want to talk about the hyper spiral. I had already seen what she was just noticing. The swirling tornado that was the very center of our universe. It was a vortex, a tornado made up of the very substance of our three worlds. Sky and soil and living things all swirled insanely around us. Look out! Lauren ducked her head as something that looked like a human house, twisted and stretched, whipped by us.
I don't remember much about this
Jeez.
giant tornado they go to. They just find the time matrix in it or something.
Yeah,
What else
Visitor
happens?
3's Visitor 32 is there.
Doesn't he just like
It's
run
weird
away?
that Elfangor can like close his hooves.
What?
Oh yeah, he can.
What?
He said, sorry, going back to when they're walking through the Yerk area, he said, I closed my hooves to the sparky vegetation. I didn't trust those dark red plants. As for Earth's grass, yeah, that's probably fine.
Yeah.
Because this grass looks tasty, and
It's
this
pretty.
sexy human girl is saying, "Hey, look, yummy grass."
Like if
I'm
you were
looking
walking
up to
around
you,
a
Andalite.
landscape and you were like walking on your mouth, you would like if there was a universe and they had grass that looked like cake, you'd walk on there. But if there was some grass that looked like poop, you would like avoid that. You would trust the tasty cake looking stuff, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna eat that.
So Elfangor, like maybe they're tubes or something
I don't
that
like
are
that
in his
image.
hooves. I just imagine them like opening like a mouth.
In between the two, like it's a deer foot hoof. So in between
Yeah.
like the two hooflets,
like-
there's
Oh,
like a,
do they have two hooves?
no,
I
they
mean, like,
have
double hooves?
yeah.
Oh, I
They
didn't
have
I
know
split.
that.
guess.
It's
I
like
mean,
a
it didn't
deer.
say so
It's like
specifically.
a
I
cloven.
assume there's like
whatever
a
it's called.
don't horse hooves not have that.
No, but it's like a deer.
How do you know that?
Well, it's always drawn like that. You look at the cover.
I think it says they have like the split hooves. What are they have a name. What are they called?
Clove hoofs?
Maybe.
His hooves are not visible on the cover, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm pretty.
Yeah,
it is.
cloven hoof.
I'm very certain that it is stated.
On the cover for the alien, they don't. Oh wait, yeah, they do. Okay, yeah, those look like double. It's very hard. It's very low.
Oh,
quality
and when they're
image.
getting close, even Lauren's voice like swirls and is weird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
it,
start.
it
Okay.
distorts the sounds too.
So yeah, they start getting older. Lauren gets like 12-foot long, not that long, really long fingernails, and like Access to chop them off with his shovel and stuff.
Also, Axe just long.
You-
His hooves get longer, and then he like cuts his hooves. So I guess that's the thing that Andalites do is every so often they have to like cut their hooves so they're not too long.
Yeah, it's weird.
Do animals do that? Do animal hooves get longer as they
I
get
feel
older?
like deer
hair?
like scrape their hooves against
Oh
trees or
yeah.
something.
I think just the fact by walking around on it, they just shave off. But that doesn't make. I mean, this whole
Elfangor
thing
hasn't
doesn't
really
make
been
any
walking that
sense
much,
because
so-
on it they should really. I mean, why aren't they experiencing time faster?
Why isn't their metabolism growing?
Yeah, why aren't they starving to death?
Okay, yes, hooves continually grow up as they wear them down, like
That's
beavers do
true.
with teeth.
So this doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But
It's just
whatever.
weird time
Maybe,
stuff.
maybe it's
It's just weird.
metabolism.
It's just weird time stuff. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Like, Why is it just hair?
Yeah, the only reason Applegate brings it up is so that she can age up Lauren so that she's illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the reason.
Oh, you're right. Okay, well, why say
It's all
that?
gross.
She specifically
It is
says,
very gross.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
I'm
like
pretty
18.
sure.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
she's-
pretty sure I'm 18. You guys.
She does. She's like
Yeah.
the way I've grown.
Doesn't something happen like way earlier?
She
than
literally
18,
almost
I
says that her
thought?
boobs have gotten bigger, but Applegate
And
cuts
she
her
cuts
off.
herself
with that.
off, and she's like, yeah, I'm 18, trust me. That's like literally. Anyway, I think what happened is the bodies got older, but all of their like internal like systems, like you know,
And wouldn't
the
have Lauren gotten her period then?
Yeah. That's what I
Lauren's
was
like,
thinking. Why
I
hasn't she
feel,
had
I
10
feel 5
periods?
years of period built up in here.
Oh God.
no,
Where?
the menstruation too. I think like the physical body like
Also,
ages,
I
like
pooped
the
my pants like 17
no, the hair
times.
grows and stuff, but like the respiratory system, the breathing system, the mind, the menstruation cycle, everything is going this normal speed, but the bodies
So
are
what
getting
you're
older.
saying is Lauren's brain is still 12 years old, but her body is 18.
That's horrible.
Okay, I didn't think of that.
That doesn't make any sense. That's not how time works.
This is weird
isn't how
time.
works.
It's weird time.
They wouldn't be suddenly growing older, but still like
Yeah.
They still.
The only
they still
reason this
interpret it
happened
as
is because
not
Lauren doesn't
time.
need to be 12 in the beginning of this book. Like they could have just had her be 18 from the beginning and
Yeah.
not had this whole weird thing go on.
It would have
but-
been less weird if she was an adult the whole time.
Yeah,
I
it
thought it
would've.
was just. I just thought it was cool that like the fingernails grew really long and then Axe chopped them off. Like that's
Yeah,
that's a
that
fun
I
little
think.
thing to
Yeah, I
have.
think at least half of the reason was because Applegate wanted to have horrifying fingernail imagery, and she
Yeah.
wanted Lauren to like be strangling a Mortron while her fingernails are growing into it.
And Elfangor says, hold your hands out still, and then she does this, then he just chops the fingernails off.
Yeah, that's at least half of the reason why Applegate.
That's
wanted
all
to
I
have
noticed.
that.
I didn't even think about all
But
that.
also so that she can make Lauren legal.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I
they
did
go.
the
They,
math.
She could
I-
have been 18 the whole time. I assumed she was 18 the whole time.
Well, she wasn't obviously.
She says, I'm 18 now.
Yeah,
so,
well,
so
by
like,
the
at
end.
the beginning,
I
I just
looked
assumed
up-
like she's probably like 16, 17.
Yeah,
No,
so,
she's no, she's 12 because I looked at she's 13 at the most because I looked up how long does it take for toenails to grow, and they grow like 2 inches a year, and they were like 10 inches, which means that it had to be at least 5 years, and that was like before. That wasn't even at the end of the whole time acceleration part. So she was at least she was 13 at the very most.
Well, I don't think she did fingernail.
You did the math. Wow.
well, like
Well, within the
I don't think
universe-
there's like a 1-to-1 thing because you know if it was all completely logical, then the
moving
minds would
faster
be moving at the
bunch.
same speed. But clearly they're not. Like some stuff is ahead and some
Well,
stuff
okay,
isn't.
whatever you want. If you want to say like,
That's
oh,
true,
it's
like,
just
how would her clothes still fit?
I didn't say that.
They don't. They're all torn and sexy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
This
they get the
part is
time matrix.
weird.
Don't they fight the Visitors? This is all after they fight the Visitor. Don't they fight the Visitor and get the time matrix?
They
or
fight the
something?
visitor first.
Visitor just walks away.
The visitor's there. They fight him,
And
he just
Visitors
walks
and
away.
the Visitor's like, oh, I can't fight you guys. See you, and then he walks away.
She uses her softball skills to toss a dead Mortron and like throw and like hit the other Mortron in the air, and then she just screams softball.
Yeah, that's what you do. You don't say strike.
Softball.
Yeah, I always say
You
softball.
would know, because it's not a
It's
strike
not a
if
strike.
it hits.
Oh, we skipped
No,
the
it
part
doesn't hit the
where.
bat,
Okay,
though.
hang on. This was a couple chapters ago.
I'm pretty sure if you hit the batter, it's a
There's a-
ball.
No. But he like. I assume that she was
It's only
aiming.
a strike if they swing for it.
No. When
Did Visitors who try to swing at it?
No, when you're the picture, you're aiming for the glove. So when you hit what you're aiming for, that's when it's a strike. And she was aiming for Visitor 3.
No. If the batter doesn't swing the ball, it's a ball.
Hang on, can I
And
bring
it
up
doesn't
something that
count.
happened in like chapter 38?
Okay.
So I think
You can't, otherwise, you could just.
Wait, no. If
Can
the
we
batter
sh-
doesn't
I don't
swing,
care!
It's a strike. If the batter doesn't swing, as long as it's a good throw, it's a strike.
No, it's if the batter
I so
swings.
don't care about
No.
this. I so don't
No,
care.
no. If the batter doesn't swing, it's still a strike. It's only a ball if they like throw it wrong. I thought.
yeah.
Mustard, I want you to cut this part out.
Baseball.
I hate
moves.
baseball.
I'd like baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball's
Hey,
fun.
how do you think Batter feels about this?
Yeah, wow, you're just gonna
Destroy your history.
You're
Okay,
just
hold on,
gonna
strike
invalidate
balls.
my existence.
We're not talking about baseball rules here. I'm talking about
Hold on,
how
hold
freaking
on.
Lauren throws a rock at the
Anytime
okay,
the
okay.
hitter swings at
No,
a pitch or misses,
whether it
No,
swings
we're talking
or
about
not,
baseball.
whether he swings or not, it's a strike. If it
it
is in the
literally
strike
says
zone.
a strike is okay. That literally contradicts itself. Then it literally says a strike is anytime the hitter swings at a pitch and misses,
Or any pitch
any
in the
pitch
strike
that is in
zone.
the strike zone. Okay.
That's why you need.
Anyway,
to
this isn't even in the book. She doesn't even say.
That's what I've been
strike.
trying
Yeah,
to
what
say
are you guys talking about
this entire
baseball for?
time, and then you guys are like, "No, we have to talk about this," and then at the finally, you're like, "Wait a minute, why are we talking about this?"
Okay,
oh,
hold on,
I
so-
just
so-
have a
Strike zone
guys.
is
I have a
Hold
great
on.
idea. Maybe we
Almost
shouldn't
like
talk
a
about
disease.
this.
You guys-
Can he
hold
talk
on.
about the book now?
No.
Hold on, wait. I want to talk more about baseball.
No, I hate baseball so much. My
What?
dad's
Well, then you are sitting in the corner.
my dad's been watching baseball upstairs, and it's been horrible. I've been hating having to
I
hear
like
about baseball more.
They stand around and they spit on the ball and they swing it sometimes.
I like that story, like Casey at the bat or whatever. Do you guys know that?
Yeah,
no, I
everyone
didn't
knows
like
it.
that story.
I thought it was. I was like, what? She was striking out? Whoa!
Okay, so my thought is that she should have said strike. So my thought is that she was aiming for the official strike zone, which she
No, because
declared.
she threw it at his head.
Yeah, so she knows, but
So that's not in the strike zone, and therefore it's not.
she
a strike.
imagined that. Okay, so the strike
Right,
zone.
hey, hold
the
on.
strike zone is
Hold
where the
on.
pitcher's glove
Shut up.
is.
Shut up. This is not the part where she's throwing This is not the part where she's throwing the She does not throw the Mortron at the visitor's head. She throws the Mortron
Oh, hey, by
at
the
the
way,
other
this isn't
Mortron.
baseball. This is softball, which probably has slightly different rules.
No, it doesn't.
Softball
Hey, I'm gonna
strike zone.
real quick rewind like 3 chapters because baseball was mentioned a little bit earlier when she just like throws a rock at the visitor in the face earlier, and then
Wait, okay, what chapter are we on?
38. But we're not.
38?
We're further. I'm just gonna. This has happened earlier, like before they go to
Alright.
McDonald's, I think. And Axe is like, "What do you call that?" And she's like, "That we call that softball. I pitched for 4-sharp twins back at home, all 82 years in a row." And Elfin goes like, "What is softball?" And she says, "It's a game we play, and you hit people in the face with rocks." And she says, "Not usually." And then Axe just talks about how he's like, "Oh, he's impressed with how they throw and stuff. They're not as ridiculous as they seem."
Yeah, this is another thing. Like they constantly talk about how like humans have such strong upper bodies and stuff, but then on the cover of this book, Elfangor is drawn totally ripped.
You're right.
He's just weak.
I thought about bringing that up when we were talking about the cover, but like
Yeah, he
his
is
arms
ripped.
look like human arms.
His arms look just huge.
And then Viz's like,
pecs.
"So, you propel rocks at me. You'll be very sorry you ever propelled a rock at me, human."
Nice.
Anyway, we can go
I
back
read
to...
that in Zim's voice.
We can go back to...
We can go back to. Can we go back
That's
to softball
exactly
now,
something
please?
Zim would
I read it in the voice that the freaking
Okay,
the
no,
narrator
that's-
of my
that's the
audiobook
same
does it
area.
in.
Okay, I'm going back to softball now.
Yeah, right now we'll Stuart pulled up some graphs of baseball strike zones, and we're looking at that right now.
Okay, so my thought is that she should say strike because she's aiming
Hey,
for a vicious
what are Cody
face.
guys even talking about?
Where she says softball.
She says she throws a
not throwing it
Morblon
at a catcher,
at
though.
Visit 3 and
Well,
says
yeah, but that's
She is
what
not
Visit 3
throwing
is.
at Visit 3, she throws a dead Mortron at a living Mortron. Just
Okay, so
knock it
imagine
out.
that that's the living Mortron, and she wants to hit that, and she hits that, and she should say strike.
Hang on,
No.
what can our listeners Google and look at the chart you're looking
No,
at?
she should say home run.
No, home runs when
No!
it gets hit. It doesn't get hit.
It does
Home
get
run
hit.
was
She
the-
hit it,
it's
and she did hit the Mortron, so she should
No, she's
say...
the pitcher in this.
Hang on, so
situation.
is your
picture.
problem that she shouts the word softball when she throws the ball?
Yeah, she should say
'cause
strike
it
because she
sounds
hit her
stupid.
target.
No, a strike is when you swing and don't
no,
hit.
you don't need a swing. A strike is just
No,
a
a strike is when you throw it and it's
Weren't you
in the
listening
strike
when they were
zone.
arguing
You
about
catch it
this?
first.
Okay,
a
a
strike is
strike-
when you throw the ball where you want to throw it, and a person does not hit it, which is what she did.
Oh, alright, fine. I guess, okay, it's a strike from her. If she's the pitcher, then it's a strike, I guess. Which makes sense, because she's the one throwing it.
Or
Alright.
maybe she should say out. No,
I
no
don't
one caught
under,
it
there's
though.
no batter in this.
Just
situation.
why shout anything?
If you
Pitchers
throw the
don't
ball
shout
and hit
stuff.
the player, it's not a strike.
She
for
should
Pete's
say
sake.
out.
No,
she should
no,
say,
but-
and you're out.
If the batter doesn't show up, it's still a strike. I
No, look it up
assume.
if it hits the batter.
Hold on, okay. What happens
If it hits the batter, that's a foul.
In base-
Guys, I
Or,
probably know the answer to this. Will you
batter
just ask it to me?
runs away?
Yeah, I said it was a ball.
If it hits the batter, that's a ball. I
No,
think.
but she's not. No. It's not equivalent to hitting the batter because the batter isn't what the pitcher's aiming for. But
Man, I
she's
don't think-
aiming for this.
guys,
thing,
I don't
so
think anyone-
the thing she
Okay,
hits,
so
I'm
you're
saying-
assuming
Guys,
that the
I don't-
Mortron is
I'm
the catcher,
keeping this in the
where we're
podcast.
assuming
No!
that it's the batter.
No, the Morton is the strike.
I don't
zone.
think
That's what
anyone
she's
wants to
aiming
hear
for.
hear us talk about baseball and not knowing anything about baseball, knowing much less about baseball than the average person does.
Oh, this is like your thing where we're talking about like how women work.
Guys,
You're like,
they touch the
hey.
time matrix and they get back to Earth, and Steve Jobs is there. Can we
What
talk
are
about that?
What are you talking about? We're talking about softball. What the fuck are you talking about?
We're talking about softball.
Wait, this is a
the fuck is a
softball
time
podcast.
matrix?
Welcome back to the softball
What the
podcast.
fuck is a time matrix? What
We talk about the softball and baseball
Steve
and
Jobs?
strike zones and midpoints.
Yeah, there's no Steve Jobs. It's just this guy named Steve and another guy named Bill in the 70s.
And
Yes.
they have jobs.
Who are
Okay.
these people? What do they have to do with softball?
Can we talk about?
Wait, are you trying to say that there's Steve Jobs and Bill Gates?
Okay, so they get they chase off Visit 3, and he says, "The day will come, Elfangor, when I'll destroy you. I'll make it personal. I'll make it very personal." And then he numbs him later on in the book.
He does nom him.
He numbs him.
Very, very personal.
Very numb.
Very, very intimate.
Very nom nom.
Nom nom nom.
I'm gonna read off the weird vest quote because just so
We just talked about it a lot.
no, just so we have like the actual like no joke wording. There's one more problem. This me has aged. I'm older. I must be almost 18 now, judging from the way I've grown. People would notice. What's the
So
other thing
gross.
she said?
I don't think.
There's something else she said.
If I didn't have birthdays, I would know how old I was.
Yeah.
Going
I
through
looked the
puberty.
same. My mom used to
Well,
be
puberty's,
like,
like,
you look
different
like you
for
could be
different people.
21 when I was 12. Like, girls are impossible to tell the difference between like a 11-year-old up to like
I
from
think
like
it's even harder for boys though.
from like 30
Yeah, boys just look like they're 14 their whole lives until they get old.
from like age 13 to like 27. Girls look, you couldn't tell how old they are.
No, it depends on the girl.
Well, yeah, of course.
I guess
but
if she's not wearing makeup,
she
though.
could totally pass for 12.
Wasn't there a different weird thing she said? I remember something else, some specific weird thing she said. I don't see it. Oh, here it is. I feel like I'm getting older. I'm getting older. I'll leave it at that. But I swear, I'm suddenly 18. That's like the...
That's
That
literally
sounds like
something that you would have to. That's like something from a porno where they
Yeah, I
have
was-
to prove that it's legal.
I was just gonna say that.
Nobody would just say that. She should say, "I think I'm an adult, guys."
I'm suddenly
Guys,
18.
I'm like exactly 18 right
Okay,
now.
hold on. Okay, maybe I just don't know about girls, but like, there's nothing that special happens. Like 18, boom, pop, something happens, right? Or am I
No,
missing
no,
something?
there's nothing like that.
Okay, just making
Puberty.
sure, right? Because I don't think there's
I
anything,
suddenly
like,
feel like
that's-
voting.
I don't think it's lying.
I
at
think
18.
I'm legally drinking age.
Well, it's not 18
Wait, that's
here.
not 18. I think I can smoke.
Yeah, I think I can buy it.
Lotto tickets.
Lottery ticket.
Elfangor, I think I'm legal now. Let's have sex.
And
I'll
they
think I'm
do.
horny. I must be 18.
And then they do.
So yeah,
but-
so then anyway, they move on, and then it's 3 years later. It says Elfangor just became a human. He just morphed into a human, lived on Earth.
Well,
now
he did the thing that Axe did. We just
Yeah.
takes like
The flawless
throughout his
maneuver.
time morphing, he just takes
yeah.
like 20 different people and then.
I love this. I found ways to come in contact with humans and absorb bits of several DNA patterns, and I just wrote how.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Did he just like kill them afterward?
No, like, what did he do? Look at
Maybe
that.
he
No,
just-
there was
he just
wacky
hi-
antics.
he
Lauren
just-
had to like hide him in bushes, and then
Yeah.
she had like she was like
right.
she was like, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, do you want to stand? Come on, I want to talk to you about something. But do you want to stand like right here? No, move to the right a little bit." And then he's like, and then she has to talk to him while a finger gropes his butt.
Maybe there's an episode where like they go to a haunted house and they're like, here, you be the person who stands here and like grabs people.
I mean, yeah,
through
this
the
is
grabby
3 years
hands.
later. Like they had a lot of time to figure this out.
So she like goes to a haunted house and she's like, oh yes, Lauren, you could be the person who like grabs the people through the mailbox chute to scare them.
With
And
the,
she's like,
the
okay, Elfangor,
blue
you do
seven-fingered
this.
hands.
Exactly, because it's a monster. Nobody would know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says Elfangor go do that for her so you can acquire people.
How would they get him into that haunted house?
What? She just sneaks them in after she gets the job.
So this mixing of
He
DNA
just
thing,
morphs into something really small and then flies in.
Okay.
this mixing of DNA thing is called the flawless flawless maneuver.
So I'm wondering who this Frolis
FOLIS.
is.
Oh yeah. But I thought it was. I think in an earlier episode, Bada mentioned like, hey, how come like Axe can do that and something like that. But
How does he know how to do that?
yeah. So I guess it's just a thing they teach you in Andalite school, but you never really do. But just you know how to do it, I guess. Because he Elfangor never did it before. That's he only ever morphed into two things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess they just teach you how to do that, but it's never really necessary. So I thought it was cool that it kind of explained that.
Maybe they normally use it as just total spitballing or whatever it's called, total theory. Maybe they use it to like try and take the best genetic traits from the best warriors and like.
Haven't we already talked about this?
Yes, but maybe they use the flawless maneuver to like combine
I think
the genetics of.
where Applegate's gonna do with this, just judging by her past decisions, is that the flawless maneuver only works if all of the creatures are from the same species.
Well, yeah, they take the best genetics from various Andalite warriors and they like.
So like
create-
that's why Axe isn't like, hey guys, we can combine animals to make the ultimate animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then it talks about how he. I mean, am I going too far ahead? He morphed a human. He went to human college. He met some dude named Steve and Bill and helped make computers or
He
something.
also met Chapman.
He met Chapman again.
He
Yeah.
met Chapman and just college buddies, and Chapman seems like he's not a punk anymore because he doesn't say, "Oh, hey, you suck. I'm gonna do a bunch of mean stuff." Haha.
Oh yeah. So he didn't wipe Lauren's memory, right?
No.
No.
They just like married. And he sees Chapman again, and doesn't he assume that the elements like brought it back somehow and
Yeah.
wiped his memory?
The LS does say later, like, I I undid an error in the space-time continuum. Chapman plays a part in what is still to come.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
anyway, he meets Stephen Bill, blah, blah, blah. He has a human wife.
He
everything.
goes by the name Alan Fanger.
Yeah, which
Elfangor for short.
Hold up. One freaking minute. So, freaking Lauren has to come up with an Earth where her parents and everybody she knows that she's 18.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she is creating Earth. Though.
Well, no, she's just modifying it slightly.
The time matrix is super powerful.
It creates all of Earth, but changes that.
Yes,
How does it change the past?
it does.
Time Matrix. It's like 6-dimensional stuff.
How does it create memories in people of
Magic.
5 freaking
Time
years?
Matrix.
This is remember when they touch the Time Matrix, they can see like everyone from all angles
Why
and
can't
like the
you
whole
just
past
go back
and
in
future.
time and be young again?
Because then they can't have
she-
They
sex.
can't marry. They can't get married then.
That seems like it would be way easier.
Yeah, but he wants to marry the sexy human girl.
Look at
It's
those
gotta be
boobs.
legal.
She doesn't want to give away her boobs. She already. Elfangor fell in love with those
I worked
boobs.
so hard to grow those over 5 minutes.
Anyway, so he
I don't
doesn't.
wanna do
He's
it.
he's just sick of Andalite. He's I'm sick of this war. I'm sick of this thing. He goes to human college, friends Bill and Steve, whoever they are.
And he's,
field
oh
guys.
man, and he gets a Mustang. He drives a Mustang.
yeah.
Yellow Mustang.
And he says, and I only thought of my own people and my own family and my own world some of the time. Not every minute. Not every minute.
He goes up to Lauren went up to Chapman and said, "Hello, Chapman. Heard your old friend Visit 32 lately?" And he's just confused. So she's like, "Okay, I guess his memory was erased."
I like this part. He's just a happy human.
Yeah,
doing
he's
human
just
stuff.
Stern. I really like when
I really like when someone's trapped in morph and just trying to live that life.
yeah, because
or
I
something
like
else.
Tobias Bice just like being a hawk and doing like actual hawk things.
And I
quite a
really
bit.
liked what's his name? It's R something.
What?
The other Andalite in this book.
Oh, the Taxon guy. When
Yeah,
he was just
I
like,
really
"I'm
liked it when
Taxon now."
Arbron just lived off as a Taxon his whole life. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, it's crazy that Arbron is just a taxon now.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I like it when people. I like the sucker morph idea, and they try and learn to deal
So
with that.
Arbron's not important for the future, but Elfangor is somehow.
Oof.
I don't understand.
You
how
couldn't,
that
like,
works.
Arbron's like, you could have
It's
said,
the Elvis just
Arbron's
pick
like,
and
wow,
choose who gets
thanks.
to be the hero.
One of the enemies is
Yeah.
like, listen, this is not your destiny.
Well, hang on.
You need to be
Let's explain. So he's living a human life for like 3 years.
You have 3 years.
He walks in this house and there's just this man standing in his house.
Hey, can I note that but he says that he married Lauren when she was ready by human standard, but like she's still like
You?
she's still like actually
For one.
she's still like actually like 15 years old at most from her perspective.
Well,
Mental
did they
age.
wait like 3 years?
They wait? Yeah, but that's she's
50,
still
15.
so she's still like 15 or 16 at most from her own perspective.
Yeah.
And just that wording that by human standards is ready. So they were planning on marrying, but they're like, oh, humans won't like it, so let's just wait.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I really like the elements talking to him as a human. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the elements are great.
What
I
are
like
you
the
doing in
whatever
here?
they
I
say.
demanded in angry mouth sounds. The man looked at me with amusement. I was good at reading human expressions now. What am I doing here? What are you doing here? I live here. This is my home. I was a little fearful. Humans' arms are strong and can be used for fighting. Whenever I sensed danger, I missed my tail, and I felt vulnerable. The man shook his head sadly. Elfin goes to Vanille Shamtool, this is not your home. And then he's like, whoa, who are you? Well, he says, what are you? You don't ask who I am, you ask what. You are still wise enough to know I am not human. And yeah, then he's just like, yeah, I'm one of the Elamists.
Hey, wait, did we even mention Elfangor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
His name is Alan. His human name is Elfangor, which I guess that kind of proves that it's pronounced Elfangor, not Elfangor.
It
No.
definitely is Elfangor.
It's like Elfangor.
Elfangor.
Hello.
I
I found it Elfangor.
Yeah, and then you made me start pronouncing it Elfangor too.
I feel like the name Elfangor, like that really stresses like.
No, it's just the thing.
Elfangor.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Hey,
saying.
I'm Elfangor.
That's what I'm saying. I think I'm wrong.
He was always saying Elfangor, which is
Not Elfangor, Elfangor. Like an elf, like elfin.
Yeah,
He's not gonna name his first. He's not gonna have his first name be El.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I feel like the last name Fangor, you wouldn't. There's no other way to pronounce it other than Fangor,
Yeah.
which I think proves that you're right with the pronunciation of Elfangor being Elfangor.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't see why it's so unlikely that they could have just changed the
Yeah, they just changed it
stress.
slightly.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Whatever. I don't care.
I care.
And
Anyway,
then
Elemis shows
drops
up.
in a bunch of bombshells on Elfangor here.
The
Oh,
Elmist?
no, well, and then right after the name thing, Elfangor is like, yeah, human doctors are barbarians.
Oh yeah, he in college, Elfangor got to pretend to be stupid. He's like, oh yeah, all this math stuff that I knew like back in my hand.
Andalites.
I mean, he's just smarter than the humans. What can you, he's not going to say anything.
He's like, oh, I was learning this stuff in kindergarten.
Well, he was. He's not going to say otherwise.
Why be a physicist? Learn something that you don't know.
Become a carpenter.
And then he's like, "Oh, I had to teach Steve Jobs that we should use symbolic icons and a simple pointer rather than a lot of complex."
No, we didn't
language.
teach it. They just trusted it.
They said that Steve thought that. They said that Steve came up with that idea.
Yeah, Steve
I
thought it was a good
got
idea.
the idea that like Elfangor was attracted to these people because they were smart.
Steve came up with it and he thought it was a breakthrough, but Elfangor didn't think it was a breakthrough.
Elfangor was like, no, I don't have a bunch of complex letters, didn't he? And
What? No, it doesn't. All it
sentence
says is my human
ambiguous.
friend Steve thought it was a huge breakthrough to use symbolic icons and a simple pointer.
Yeah, when I
rather
read
than
that,
a
I
lot of
assumed it
complex
was
language.
Elfangor who told Steve
Oh,
to
okay.
do that. But
I assumed the
it's
opposite.
ambiguous because Steve could have just come up with it
I assume that
himself.
Elfangor was just attracted to these people because they were very smart and innovative with these ideas, and then
I'm so much smarter than humans. It's just so insufferable to be around people who are just so much dumber than I am.
And then they-
Luckily,
Yes.
there's a smart subset of my population
Well, yeah.
that is still very very behind me, but it's close enough that it's bearable to be around them.
Yeah, that's how I
That's
feel.
how it is.
I don't like saying that.
Well, he has to. That's just how it is. You can't change that. He's 100 years beyond us in technology.
Hey, wait a minute. He still enjoys Lauren's company, so that's obviously not true.
Well, yeah, but he loves Lauren.
Why else would he become a physicist if he didn't think every other?
I think
Yeah,
I think he's just more comfortable with it. I
mean,
don't
yeah,
think he's trying to
not
do
gonna
anything
be a
specific.
butcher or like
That's just what he's
farmer.
comfortable with.
He's like, yeah, I can just easily get through this homework.
He wants to blend in as much as possible. Now I don't think he's gonna be able to blend in like learning a new skill.
He's not going to be able to blend in trying to.
Why
talk
not?
and
It's a
speak
new
to
skill.
Because he'd have to. Okay, if he can't just become like a freaking biologist, they'd be like, okay, so like everyone.
Let's spit in this tube, please.
What?
Let's spit in this tube. Let's see your DNA, and then it'd be like, "What is it?
DNA
Like
is the
5
same.
people DNA? What the heck?"
Oh, no, I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Biologists are always checking new biologists to make sure that they're actually human.
No, I was just.
I like that it just said Steve and Bill and not the last names. That was silly.
I was just thinking that. No, I was just.
Elfangor is so smart
just
that
thinking
he's
he'd go to-
contemporaries with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates.
I was just thinking
I
he'd
mean,
go to
Nobody else is smart
biology.
enough to hang
I was
around
just thinking he'd go to
Elfangor.
biology
No, there's
101,
notable ones.
and the
Those
thing,
are
and the
notable ones.
he would just go to biology 101, and like he'd be really stupid because like all like the questions would be like.
Why not let him see what it's like?
In
Oh, yeah, that's a
in
good
biology
point.
101, there'd be like questions that's like name an example of a predator-prey relationship. It'd be like Kafitbird and freaking Andalite.
He probably thinks they still have like 2 hearts and a Streedley Spooge. You know, he doesn't
Yeah.
even know human bodies.
Can we wrap this book up?
Exactly, he could learn stuff.
Except
Instead of
Lauren.
just being freaking bored all
Well,
the time.
he would look weird.
Yeah, stuff that's obvious to humans would not be obvious to him, so he needed something that he knew he could do.
Anyway,
It's still weird. It's still like
Yeah,
it
let's
still
wrap this-
makes me not like Elfangor.
he could just like grow in the factory.
so Ellimist then undoes like everything and just sends him to some random part of the time.
Well, no. First, the analyst says, "By the way, your wife is pregnant."
I no. He says that after.
Oh, he said that after.
Yeah, and then
Why?
Elfangor's like, "Fuck you, man! I
I
would
would
have."
have wanted to know that before.
Oh my god.
And he's like, "Well, it's too late now, haha." Fuck
Yes,
you.
he's back to an Andalite.
And also, your wife is married to another man, ha ha ha. But she's still pregnant with your child.
She's still pregnant with your child.
I feel like this is just like Elements
What?
just like making just a silly, just like making fun of Elfangor
That's
this whole
just
time.
Elemis just being mean to
Well,
Elfangor.
it's because the Elfangor messed with the time matrix, so he's like, this is stupid. I'm
Yeah.
gonna mess with you.
Elemis is just like gonna show his friends, like, we were do this guy. I told him it was like his destiny to the universe. I just like whipped him away from his wife and kid, and then I like freaking set his wife up with
Dude.
another dude.
That
No.
would be really funny.
I
if,
told
like,
I told him he had a
the
great
Elemis
destiny,
didn't
and then I
care
just
about Elfangor's destiny or anything. They're just like, let's mess with this guy.
yeah, I told him he had a great destiny with like a freaking another with your brother and stuff, but no, I just sent him to a random part of the galaxy, and then he immediately died because he didn't know how to fly his modern Andalite spaceship.
This is like Job.
Oh yeah, this is like 3 years later.
This is like Job.
Can we talk
we are-
about like the actual like?
We are not the only great powers of the galaxy. There is another older even than we, and he plays a dark game, Andalite. It
Wait,
is with-
what?
This is what the Elmis says.
I don't remember this.
Yes, even Elmist is.
He
like,
says, "It is with him that we play. So hope that we win, Elfangor. Hope that we win."
So basically, the Elmists are God, and some of them are good, and some of them, and there's this one evil
No, he
guy
says
who's
we.
Satan.
There's we
No, it's
the
God and
Elmis.
No, hang on.
It's something
So
else.
Okay, so anyway, but yeah, to be serious, like there was something older than and smarter than the Elamists, which is insane.
Wells.
It's Wales.
I don't think the elements are necessarily the smartest things and the oldest things. They just are the ones who created the time
I
matrix and
think
then
it's
just
cool
screwed
that
off.
there's something smarter and older. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think it said that they were smarter, but they are older and they are very powerful.
They're just old and senile. And really broad.
So can we talk
It
about?
seems like they're evil, but they just don't know what they're doing anymore.
Can we talk about when Elfangor was like he saw like the past and future and timelines and stuff after the Elmis came back and he realized some stuff, and there was some very important lore, some of which I'm confused about.
Okay. Go on.
Would someone else spin? I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What he sees lines of time and he sees 5 kids with the Animorphs and how they cross his path in the future, and he sees another Andalite and then he sees his son and then he sees how it crosses path with his brother and stuff.
All right.
What is this not huge? What do you what?
It's just fan service to be like, oh yeah, the Animorphs. If you didn't realize, this is Animorphs.
Yeah, but then it's like Tobias is his son.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
I didn't know that. That's
The
a big
Elvis
deal.
says that. The Elvis says it.
It doesn't say it's Tobias.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't immediately, but it's revealed.
I didn't realize it was Tobias until whoa, it's friggin'.
Well, I realized it was Tobias on my book. It's page 134. When he says you have a son, I realized.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't realize when he
How
said
do
you have
know
a son.
page you're on?
You realized his son was
What's
Tobias when he
the
said you have a son?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, okay, it's Tobias.
No, I thought it was probably either Jake or Tobias.
But then I was like, it has to be Tobias because Tobias had that moment in book 1 with him.
Yeah, that's my thought process.
It still didn't technically say it. Oh no, yeah, it did. It did. At the end, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Man, and Tobias, I like how Tobias
And now
is stuck
Tobias
as a
is a
hawk,
hawk,
just
yeah.
like how Elfangor got stuck as a human. So is Tobias gonna have a hawk chick who is
Is Tobias gonna get a hawk pregnant and then have a hawk
and then
son?
the Elmis is gonna be like, Tobias, no, you're supposed to be in middle school at the prom right
And then
now,
the- and then Alex-
and then he's gonna
The hawk should,
and then he's
the other
gonna-
hawk should have your hawk babies. It should be a great warrior.
The Amish just keeps doing this over and over again. for fun.
It's just really funny
It's
to
just
him.
the Elvis that's just funny. Yeah.
Is that it? Wait, hang on. So Elfangor is Tobias' dad, and Lauren is Tobias' mom, and the Ellimist takes Elfangor away to be an actual Andalite now, and then he says, what happens to Tobias's... it says,
We don't know what happens to
It
this
says,
guy.
then it says, oh yeah,
No, it's-
another
it's
man
not.
is gonna raise you. Another man is gonna married to.
No, hold
Lower
up,
now,
hold
but
up.
it's still your son.
It explains it when Elfangor talks to Tobias at
It
the
does?
end. Yeah.
Mhm, yeah, a
Yeah,
little
he says
bit.
my mom was never got over my father or something. So did Elfangor did the Elmis just
Oh, no,
set
let me
Lauren
read
up
it.
with a jerk?
Probably, yeah.
She
Man,
disappeared
what an asshole.
when I was just little. I don't know what happened. I guess she died. People say she just left because she was messed up. They said she never got over my father. I don't know. But I know she has to be dead because she never have just left me, no matter what. But maybe that's just what I told myself. I
Hang on,
don't
so
exactly have a family.
What happened to the fake father?
See, why did they have to set her up with a different guy? I
Because
mean,
the
are
Elmis
single
thought
it
moms
was
not
funny,
allowed to
yeah.
be a thing in this
I
world?
know.
I almost thought it was funny. Yeah.
Is it
Whatever.
explicitly stated that the Elmis set her up with another dude? Because maybe that was just her rebound.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe that was just maybe
But
because
maybe the
maybe,
Elmis
yeah.
didn't do something.
maybe he saw her he saw her timeline entangled with somebody else's, but maybe that was just her rebounding onto somebody. I thought I was under the impression that Elmis set her up with somebody else, but maybe
Yeah.
it was just her rebound.
Okay,
Maybe
so
it's
what I
just-
assume happened now is that all the elements did was take Axe away, and then after that
Elfangor.
happened, sorry, all the elements did was take Elfangor away back to being an Ellimist.
Andalite.
Andalite. And then the mom had Tobias, the husband, the actual dad was gone. Okay, I'm not
And
confused
then she
anymore.
got with somebody else, and
Yeah.
then that guy disappeared.
And
or
she
something,
never got over her old husband, who was Elfangor.
Yeah.
Oh, who just died?
Yeah, who just
Alright.
disappeared.
Okay.
And that's why she was torn apart, because Elfangor was gone. And that's why Tobias doesn't have
I
parents.
accidentally deleted my table of contents on my book.
She was sad and left Tobias or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, I actually tore out the table of contents.
Okay, so anyway,
page,
yeah,
and
then he goes to some friggin' Andalite fight, but who cares about that? I don't know.
Yeah.
And a fight.
Nobody cares.
nobody.
And
cares.
then that's when
Oh,
he
no.
then
Then book
Animal
one starts the end.
Then Animal starts because then he crash lands and
I
dies.
like what he says. He says to Tobias. He says, at the end of his
Oh
conversation.
yeah, it talks
with
about him actually meeting Tobias. We should talk about that.
Yeah.
That's what I've literally read a passage from him meeting
We've
Tobias.
been talking about that this whole time.
Well, I'm still caught up on who the mom is and
You're
stuff.
still caught up on like how he like figures out how to get to the center of the fake universe and how cool that is.
Hang on, Hulk Vegeta planet?
And then the cover of this book happens in the last chapter.
Yeah, the third cover.
Yeah, the cover of book.
Oh, so
3.
here we actually learn what Tobias said to Elfangor when he was like spending time with him when all the other animals left. in
Yeah,
book 1.
he wasn't just whispering sweet nothing or telling him.
Your mother,
about-
tell me about your mother, Tobias, your family. She disappeared when I was little. I don't know what happened. I guess she died. I guess we already talked about this.
Well,
I
read it
literally
off
just
anyway.
read that.
Oh.
Yes.
okay.
Go to your friends, Tobias. They are your family now.
Yeah, I was like, Tobias is just walking home with these guys he barely knows, and an alien crash lands and says, "Those guys are your family now."
That must be so weird for him. He's like,
It is weird.
What are you talking about? You random
This is
alien?
Dad.
What are you
He
talking
has.
about?
And now he's a hawk.
And like, it's very
No,
sad
he's a
for him.
hawk.
This is
Go live in the woods, Tobias.
I
The
feel-
hawks are your family now.
I, Elfangor, Sentinel Shamtul, having transmitted all my last thoughts and memories to be sent through space to my people, now end my life. My Hirak Delest is done. I go in peace to my death. As I leave my last legacy, a single word for all free people of the galaxy. Hope. I have nothing else to say about this book.
this book was good.
This book was
This
good.
book still is my favorite, just because of the first half. Even though I didn't like the last bit with the Elemist, I
It's
do.
pretty short.
I'm not sure if
I
I
do
can
like
pick a new favorite because
motions.
I think book 3 wasn't as good as like some of these other books, but like at this point I don't remember enough about it to be able to measure any of these books against it and be like, yeah, this is my new favorite.
I mean, didn't book 3
so-
make you feel the best? And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Aw. Yeah, this book didn't make me feel the best. I mean, it was cool. I had lots of science fiction things, but in the end, I was just kind of like, meh.
I really like the Andalite romance, so whatever.
The interspecies romance.
Yeah, it's cute.
I like Moko. This was a good book. I look forward to more books of Moko hitting trash cans with cars. I'm excited. You know, we spent 2 episodes talking about this book, which was not really an Animorphs book. It was really good, but I miss Moko, you know. I look forward to seeing him again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm.
This book made me kind of miss all of the Animorphs.
Yeah,
And
like
how silly
really?
and stupid their
for the
adventures are.
first part of for the first third of this book, I was like, this is not Animorphs. I miss
No,
I
no.
miss my kids.
No,
Where's Moko?
this book made me realize how much I just don't care about the human Animorphs
What?
that much. They're such lame people, you know. They just have stupid ideas. This book was finally something cool.
I liked it a lot by the end, but at first I was like, this is animal. This is not my Animorphs. It was Moko and Jake and Cassie and Rachel.
I kind of feel the opposite because I was just like, at the beginning, I was like, oh, cool, it's different stuff. But at the end, I'm like, I kind of miss those guys.
Huh.
I was just kind of tired of this book by the end.
It was very
Let's
long,
just say
yeah.
that. I was just kind of tired of it all.
But it was good.
It was great. It's a good book.
I liked it more than I think anything in between 7 and now.
It's my new
Yeah,
favorite.
okay.
It's my new
That's-
favorite
that's-
just because of like the tax and homeworld stuff was just that cool. But like I think book I think book 8 is like
she did enough with any of the concepts that she brought in.
I think
What,
a
really?
book,
She did
I
so
think
much, I thought.
She didn't do enough to make me like them.
book 8 like
I
book-
learned-
Well, they're
okay
not very
the
likable.
parts of this book that I dislike more than any part of book 8. But like there are
to
parts
me,
of
she
this book
just
that I
spent
like
a lot of
more than
time
book 8.
with these guys just in ships. They're like, oh, we gotta shoot something.
Well, yeah, but that's life.
This book was a lot.
That's
I think that's
life.
the best way to describe it.
Wah, wah.
This
Yeah,
book was
this
a
book
lot.
Be natural. What do you dislike about this book? Because you said like,
Just the-
oh,
just
I
the-
wouldn't like when I said I don't think this had a weak chapter in it. You said, I don't know. So what is weak about this book?
Just the ending where it's narratively unsatisfying to have a god come in and say, I don't want, this is not how the story goes.
Maybe I just really like narratively unsatisfying stuff because I'm tired of boring stories always being the same ending.
And
Right.
I thought this was maybe a little bit too satisfying.
And
At first,
also
where it
just,
was
like, the
Tobias
aging-
is his son. Like, okay, now we can talk about it. I just thought that was pointless and just why?
It's just cute. There's a lot of
It's
cute
fan
Andalite stuff in
service.
this.
I thought it was neat. It adds a lot
It was
to
neat,
Tobias.
but it's just like,
That's a lot of Tobias. It's like,
But now
Tobias has too much
Axe is
pressure on him.
freaking Tobias's uncle.
what's wrong with
Yeah.
that?
Oh.
What's up with that?
They
That's
have a
weird,
nice,
dude.
they have a nice bond. It's
Have we brought
An
that up
uncle
already?
nephew.
I didn't think
No,
of-
no,
I
I
didn't
like
think
the
of
bit where
that.
there's just two buds hanging out in the forest.
Hey, Axeman!
Yeah,
Uncle
not
Axeman.
Who
Axe.
called their uncle Axeman?
they're the same age.
Imagine going to your uncle's house and
That's
saying,
true.
"Hey, Axeman, want to play Nintendo?" That's
Yeah, I think
weird.
if you like the same age as your niece, you might like.
Okay, I guess
like
you,
friends
yeah,
with them.
okay.
Do you think Capelgate had a lot of fan mail shipping Axe and Tobias and was like, nope, I gotta shut this down right now.
I'll stop.
I've been watching this video. I think I
Hey,
watched
is it
this
joke
video 10
time,
times
guys?
already.
Is it joke time?
I just want to say I like this. Yeah, it's joke.
You said that already.
Yeah.
Better. Do you have anything else to say about this book?
Nope.
Stu, do you want to talk about how great the ending is and why you love it for like 5 minutes? The answer is no. Let's sign out.
No, I don't have. I don't actually like the ending of this one. That's much.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Okay. Hello. This is the Animorphs Book Club podcast. Catch us next week when Rachel hijacks a car and Darko drives it into the.
What are you talking about?
Marco drives it into a bunch of trash cans, and
Darko.
then
Donnie Darko?
Tobias develops an allergy to Rachel, and it's very awkward because he keeps morphing out of control when they kiss, and it's very
And
silly.
every time we kiss, I'm more out of control.
Yeah.
And every time we touch, I swear I can't fly because my wings are morphing back into arms. Ah!
And then that's the death of Tobias, and this whole uncle-nephew thing doesn't even matter.
Okay.
Maybe it'll be revealed that Jake and Cassie are cousins.
You know you have to sign off first, right?
Yeehaw, South Carolina.
Be natural. Signing out.
I'm better. Goodbye.
I'm mustard.
I'm Stir. I'm watching a video. You know that video from
That's not a sign out.
I don't care.
That's
Where the
keeping
guy
the
takes a
podcast
plate of
alive.
macaroni and cheese and he's
You know that song about blah 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 where the guy tries drowning and he tries to stop him? I don't know the words.
You know that song "Bodies" by Drowning Pool? Is that what you're talking
I'm
about?
talking about-
Do you guys know about the Drown House?
I'm talking about Stan.
Oh.
I'm Stir. This is my outro.
What kind of music do mummies like?
Rap.
Rap.
Oh. I was gonna say disco.
Why? The Monster Mash.
Oh,
No, it's not the answer. No.
Oh, okay.
No,
no, that would have been a good one.
it's rap music.
Okay.
Nice.
I thought the answer was the Monster Mash.
No, so I feel I
That
can't
would've been
joke
sort
when
of
I'm doing
clever.
this.
It's not a if I said what type of music I like, I like Gangnam Style music.
That's valid. There's no more Scooper Shoes in this
No
world.
more Stupid Shoes. Wait, I thought there's more Stupid Shoes.
Are there?
I thought they fought a Stupid Shoes.
I just want a chance to say Scooper Shoe
No,
more.
there's no Scoopa Chews.
Yeah,
What are they called?
When did they fight the
Oh,
Scoopa
sorry,
Chews?
I'm confusing Stupid Shoes with the wheel things
No.
because that's not what.
Oh.
If you said Stritna, I'd know what you were talking about.